Пошли. Все вместе. Какие ваши доказательства?
They want you to comply.
Cancel culture is about canceling.
Кокаином.
Up yours. Woke moralists. Up yours.
This is systematic bullying that's happening.
Woke moralists. Up yours.
And they believe that they can then
Woke
shut us
moralists.
up.
Up around and find out.
Up yours. Woke moralists.
They seem animalistic is what I mean.
No, they're worse than animals.
The woke mob, they ruin everything.
They stop Ben Shapiro from going to events and speaking. They stop Ann Coulter from doing it.
I will never surrender even a single inch of ground to a pitchfork mob.
You never cave to the mob.
We will never bow to the mob. Ever. No matter what.
Do you see the final expression of cancel culture in terrorist groups like
Up yours.
We'll see who cancels who.
Hey, how we doing, everyone?
Today.
Yeah, full house. We've got a bit of a crossover episode today. We've got the folks from Like It or Not here.
That's it. What's going on, everybody?
How you doing?
Hi, Ben. Hi, James. Good to see both of you.
Lance,
Yeah.
I saw everybody else backstage. Mike, David, and Matt. Good to see DJ Exclusive. What's going on?
Yeah,
Matt?
first time DJ Exclusive has been on the show, which is
know,
way
right?
too long, but so happy to finally have you here.
Yes, thank y'all for having me. I should have been here a long time ago, but it just takes me so long and booked and busy just a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'm here now.
I love your mic. That's so cool.
So
I was saying that too. I'm like, I love it.
It makes me feel like I'm about to go do a performance somewhere. That's why I love this mic. My roommate's microphone. I say, hey, can I use your microphone? Because mine is busted and disgusted right now. So let me use your mic. And the first time I used it, I was like, oh, I just want to sing.
Green light. It's a great light.
Yeah, I love that. Rebecca will be here soon. She's getting off of work. So we will have the full Like It or Not / Leftist Mafia crossover episode special for episode 69. It's a big day.
Oh, is that why we're doing this? I didn't realize it was
that's the
episode 69.
I didn't even know this was episode 69. Hell yeah.
It is.
That's the sex
Are
number.
you sure?
That number references
is,
the
yeah.
sex position. Yeah, cool.
Mine says 68. So
Oh, good job, Mike. Mine says 68 too.
Well, that's because that's wrong. Last week was 68.
Was
What?
it?
Damn, I didn't
Yeah.
know. Congratulations.
This shit.
Yeah. I never get these kind of things wrong.
Wow, yeah, Mike is right. I gotta edit my video. Good job labeling it wrong, David.
No, mine last week was 67.
You guys are losing viewers because you're not using
No,
the
mine was
clickbait, all
68
right? Everyone will
last
come
week. I
in
didn't
because they
change
think we're
it.
going to be talking about 69. Bring them in. Bring
Yeah.
the people in.
Okay. I think it was
Then we'll talk about
mislabeled
economic
last week.
reform for 2 hours.
They'll just come in and they'll type
Right.
nice
Regardless.
and then they'll leave. But that engagement is enough. Like, that's all we need.
It's just all you need. That's all you need.
Yeah. Yeah. So what has happened this week? It's been, I feel like a really another week. I don't know. It's raining. I'm trying to remember what happened. There was a lot with regard to like Elon Musk and his burner account being outed. I saw Lance talk about that. There's discourse surrounding Sonia Sotomayor and whether or not she should retire. And liberals have some thoughts about that. I thought that Mehdi Hassan wrote a really great piece about that. It went over okay, but Senate Democrats in particular are pretty pissed off about it. So there's a lot. I don't know where you all want to start today.
Well, we all know Mike hates old people, so I'm sure he wants Sotomayor out of there.
I will say this. I'm really sympathetic to her because in the grand scheme, like comparatively speaking, she's really not that old.
Right.
She's 69, like our episode.
Hey.
But the thing is that she does have a lot of health problems, right?
Mhm.
And so it's not exactly a one-to-one compared to the Ruth Bader Ginsburg situation where she was like 97 and had 84 different cancers. Like, she does have health problems. She's not that old. But I understand, like, Elizabeth Warren, some of the other senators are saying this is like completely unacceptable that people are calling for her to retire. But listen, we have to this is my thoughts on this, okay? I don't, and look, I like Sotomayor much more than Ruth Bader Ginsburg, but Biden could lose this election. And I don't think that the survivability of Sotomayor, like our right should hinge on the survivability of Sotomayor. So even though like I really do feel bad and sympathize for her, and I understand the argument of the people saying she shouldn't step down, I genuinely think she really should step down. And it pains me to say that. But I mean, there's so much at stake. How much have we lost within just 4 years? You know, how much more? If the 6-3 majority goes 7-2, like how long is it going to take to reverse that? You know, or even get back to the point where there's a 4-4 plus a swing. You know,
listen, I'm sure if she doesn't retire and Donald Trump wins the general election in 2024, I'm sure Trump will respect her wishes and replace her with a nice liberal judge. You know? Just like he did with RGB. He respected her wishes, of course.
Yeah. We got ACB.
Did I just say RGB? I did say.
You said
I said
RGB, yeah.
You said RGB.
Yeah.
That's fine. That wasn't
good
dying
old
wish.
Ruth Gator
Didn't she
Binsberg.
didn't she say something like that? Like my one dying wish is that you don't replace me with like some hardcore right winger.
Oh, did she?
It was something along those lines, or something along the lines of like timing of the election. Something that she said. But
wait until after the election.
Request was Donald Trump ignored it right away. You know, Mike, I have to agree with you. You know, it really is a tough spot. But we saw what happened with Ruth Bader Ginsburg. We saw when these positions overall having justices for life. That's a problem in the first place, right? Because now you're right. How long will it take to turn a 7-2 majority court? It would take all of our lifetimes. I mean, right now we're going to be fighting back against these Donald Trump picks probably for the rest of our lives. So if it gets even worse, you know, but unfortunately, the people who have power, they don't think that way. They have power. They want to protect power. And inevitably it comes back to bite them in the butt.
Yeah, and just this article from David Sirota that he shared, really, I think it speaks to that liberal hubris, right? This was from 2013. Stop telling Ruth Bader Ginsburg to retire. Like, I would like to talk to that author now and ask if she still has that same position. Because,
probably, honestly.
I mean, come on. I mean, we lost so much. Just within a year, they messed up so much. Roe v. Wade overturned, affirmative action struck down, discrimination against LGBTQ people affirmed. There's this is just like a couple of years into this supermajority. So I just feel like we have to be overly cautious here. And I don't think that the hand-wringing that we're seeing from like Senate Democrats is appropriate. Like, at least try to empathize with the people who are making this argument, because the people making this argument, you know, it's coming from a good place. Like, it's not malicious. I could pull up some of the quotes from the Senate Democrats just to kind of give everyone a sense of what they said.
I bet you that author still does feel the same, because a lot of people view politics not as a thing that impacts society, but as like these personal achievements. Like, oh, isn't it amazing that she died while she was still serving? Like, no, that like there's a problem with now the rest of society because she decided not to step down earlier. Like but it's a fundamental difference in the way certain people view politics.
Yeah, and like, I understand this argument. Like Peter Welch says, you know, she's not 70. I might remind some of my colleagues to look around, check their birth certificates. And I understand the argument, but it's a matter of like, are these health issues that she's been experiencing, like, isn't significant enough to merit concern? Dick Durbin says that he wants her to remain on the court. Chris Van Hollen, I think she's doing a great job. Nobody's saying she's not doing a good job, but he's baffled by the chatter. Elizabeth Warren says it's nonsense. Where did this come from? Warren said, I don't want to add any fuel to the fire on this. I think she's doing a great job, and I am grateful for her public service. It's not like they're taking this as some sort of a personal attack against her. And I feel like that's really, it's a straw man argument, and they're being purposefully obtuse. Like, they know why we're making this argument, and not me in particular. Nobody's listening to me, but like people who are significant, like Mehdi Hassan, like other even notable liberals, they're making this argument because like it's a matter of life or death for so many people, literally, if she is not able to survive 4 more years. And I'm sure she will, right? But it's just a matter of an overabundance of cautious that we all want to exercise given the era that we're in.
Remember, Mike, voting is strategic. That's why you have to vote for the better of the two evils. But apparently, Supreme Court Justice lifetime picks, that's not strategic. They shouldn't strategically retire. They shouldn't strategically plan out when they retire, so that the president that they want to pick their replacement is in power. That, of course, is not strategic. We'll wag our finger that voting is strategic to the people who don't want to vote for Biden, but we won't do the same for the very powerful judges who have lifetime appointments. It's fucking amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, and like she's gonna like. We're not, and this was a point that was made by one of the Daily Show hosts. I don't know his name, the other white guy, but that's not Jon Stewart. But he was saying, like, it's not like we're gonna throw her into like a pit of fire or something. Like, she gets to retire. You know what I mean? Like, she's wealthy. I would retire if I had the ability to do so as early as I could. So people are just like saying, look, hey, spend your golden years enjoying life, long walks on the beach. I don't know, go play Fortnite, whatever you want to do, Sotomayor.
Then you don't get all those amazing bribes and everything, though, right? Like, don't you stand to make a lot of money when you're on the bench from not bribes, gifts, tons of gifts, you know,
gifts.
If you're Clarence Thomas, yes.
Well, if you're Clarence Thomas, I don't think Sotomayor is doing that.
It's an investment plan.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm a very simple guy. As long as with Ruth Bader Ginsburg's replacement, I just required that whoever took her place also had 3 names, and we got that with Amy Coney Barrett, so I was fine. And with Sonia Sotomayor, as long as the next justice also shares a name with a Mortal Kombat character, I'm good. So give me like Judge Molina, and I'm good. I'll be fine.
4 syllables in the name too. I'll take that.
Weird rules, but I feel it.
Judge Sub-Zero sounds good to me.
Yeah, I feel like
I'm trying to figure out which character is Sotomayor. Help me out. Which one is that?
Yeah, it's been way too long.
Sonya Blade.
Oh, Sonya Blade. Okay, gotcha. All right. Sorry.
I haven't played the game in so long. Yeah.
Ben's a boomer. Yeah, I gotta forget him. Okay.
Which character?
Yeah. So
is there? So I have a question. Let's say that spot is open. Can Republicans block? Like, use any weird strategery to block the next judge coming on? Because that's they can stall. That's the one thing I'd worry about, right? Like, that's what
they still hold the Senate. You know, Democrats do hold the Senate right now, and the additional fear is like if they lose the Senate as well as the presidency. You know, so like what the argument is, this is kind of like a small closing window where they have the Senate and they have a Democratic president, to where you replace Sotomayor. And then for the most part, Jackson, super young. Kagan doesn't seem like she's necessarily unhealthy, right? So if you replace her,
she's also the worst of the liberal justices. So
she's absolutely the worst.
I wish we could keep Sotomayor. I wish they could switch bodies or something.
Yeah. I hate Kagan, but yeah, if they were to do that, then you would basically solidify that 3 liberal minority on the court, and it wouldn't shrink. Like, it's just a matter of like, we're already in such a bad position, not losing any more. I think in the long term it's going to make a big difference. Short term, not going to help us much, but long term it's important. Like, how many more rights do we have to lose? We don't even know the outcome of some of these recent cases that they took up. Like, are they going to get rid of the Chevron doctrine? That like huge implications. So like, it's just about like mitigating damage at this point. To me, it's all strategic, and that's where I'm coming from. I don't, it's not like I hate Sotomayor. I love old people, contrary to popular belief. Well, I shouldn't say that, but I mean, I don't hate old people, right? But like, let's not fuck ourselves over.
Mike, let me warn you, Mike, that old creeps up on you real fast.
I know.
You will be
I'm feeling it.
You will be.
You will be what you hate.
I am feeling it.
I mean,
I will hate myself.
We have the gray hair coalition at the bottom, so
right.
No, it's just a lot of the old people in my family, they are like very, very. They give me a bad perception of old people. They're Republican, annoying, and they're not even that old. You know what I mean? It's just people that I hate that are assholes. It's not necessarily old people. It's a meme that I got to keep going. But yeah, I don't hate Sotomayor.
You know what I can't help but think when we discuss this, we can't get them to be Lance. I love strategery. They won't do any of George Bush's strategery with Sotomayor. So I guess we could just forget about any chance of them actually like packing the court and actually balancing it out and maneuvering in the same kind of way Republicans maneuvered over the last. I mean, they worked on it for years. They worked on it for years, and as soon as they saw an opportunity to seize those court picks, they did that. So I guess if we can't even get them to really think about getting someone to retire in time to prevent an even more cataclysmic court, then we could really forget about them doing something structural in the long run.
Yeah. It kind of speaks to the mentality of Democratic Party elites at the moment. They feel entitled to these positions of power, and I get it. Like, I think it feels gross to really single out Sotomayor, but the reasons are valid. It's not like it's just I hate her in particular. No, she is vulnerable, and it's scary to see somebody have health issues and be in that position of power and could
what are
cost
the health
people.
issues? Are they something?
I don't know in particular,
okay.
But she was like admitted to the hospital like a couple of months ago. And look, that could happen to anyone, right? So it's not necessarily just like, oh, she's old and she's dying. It's just, I don't know, just about being cautious.
It's a numbers game. It's the odds game. We can't keep playing like this.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like, people are just worried, rightfully so, because it wasn't that long ago when Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed away, right? And like, she only had to make it a couple more months, but she couldn't, because guess what? When nature calls, nature calls. You can't fight that, right? It's the force of nature.
That's not what I think about when we say nature calls. I remember where I was when she died, man. I remember. It's what's crazy to me is that moment is actually still very present for me.
Yeah.
I remember when she died, and I'm like, oh my God, we're getting ready to go to Handmaid's Tale, because I knew that they were going to seize that moment and do exactly what they did. And here we are, again, like, we're just talking about the numbers game, but it repeats itself. If they don't learn their lesson, history most certainly is going to repeat itself.
Yeah,
it was bizarre to see all like the when she died, to see all like the eulogies and the obituaries that were like heralding her as a feminist icon, and it's like her decisions are literally going to be the cause of the dismantling of Roe v. Wade, which is what we saw. Yeah. So like it was so amazing to watch. Like, yes, you can say this about her, but at the end of the day, the decision she made at the end of her career to me will define her going forward for good. Right. I mean, this is her legacy, unfortunately, for anyone who loves her so much.
Yeah, I got the mentality. I understand the mentality in Washington, D.C. now. It's like, how dare you try to interrupt my episode of West Wing? How dare you try to interrupt my episode of Madam Secretary? Like, this was about me. Sorry, RGB, love you, mean it, but like, they didn't want anybody to mess up the perfect ending where she was supposed to die in office and everything was supposed to work out perfectly. And I think the people surrounding them really think we should not have the nerve, the audacity of us to interrupt their life story.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And I'm remembering like pre-vaccine COVID era. Like, I think this was a couple of months into the pandemic, and Ruth Bader Ginsburg was marrying couples without a mask. Like, I saw the pictures, and I was just like, "What is she doing?" I mean, are we really gonna? Like, she was outside, right? But she was very close with them, and I'm just like, listen, put this lady in a bubble or some shit. Like, what exactly is going on here? Are we just like rolling the dice with fate here? And she did. You know what I mean? It's not like she was healthy already. So it's just like, it just feels so frustrating because we're so powerless in this situation, right? We're hoping and crossing our fingers that people in power be strategic and they don't like risk our rights for their own careers. And I guess that's too much to ask. It's offensive to some people. It's preposterous to some Senate Democrats. And it's not like I don't understand where they're coming from with regard to Sotomayor, because it's a different situation than with Ruth, but it's still dire and I'm still worried. And I don't want more conservatives to be packed on. I mean, 7-2, 7-2 at this point. Just like throw away the country. Like that's just never gonna happen. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Oh, this is going to be a long fight.
Yeah.
Every person on the screen is going to have gray hairs by the time we're done getting this court back in order.
Yeah.
By the time Kavanaugh retires. Yeah.
Yeah. It's sorry to start off on a doomer, but that was something that was on my mind, and I didn't get to talk about that this week in a video. And yeah, I just kind of feel annoyed by liberals who are like finger wagging.
Well, there's also that kind of like entire Craven thing about like people saying you can't appoint someone in an election year right before an election. And then I thought that was just the rule because of how it was treated during the Obama era. And then when Trump came into power, it was like, no, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah,
you can just do whatever you want. Really, just it's all about politeness, about whether or not you're willing to go
right.
the distance. Yeah.
Mitch McConnell made up that rule and then got rid of it.
Yeah, and everyone believed it. You know,
Yeah.
even liberals were like, he's probably right. You can't do this in an election year. Obama, you gotta wait. You gotta wait, you know?
Yeah.
They're actually debating it like 50-50.
Yeah, I was like, why are you entertaining this? Wait,
because they
Trump,
entertain
you can just do that.
any absolute bullshit Republicans bring up, they will entertain it. And all of a sudden, it would like normalize the conversation, as opposed to just outright being like, "Are you fucking crazy?" Like they should have anything the Republicans bring up. They should treat it like they're from fucking space. Like, what are you fucking talking about? But no, they have to like, oh well, let me think about that. Or even if they reject it, they'll do it like kindly. Like, no, call them fucking insane and like make it clear how fucking crazy these people are, and they're terrible at doing that.
Yeah.
Didn't Obama have like 6 or 7 months too? Like, wasn't it an even bigger window than Trump had?
Yeah,
Trump
it was like
had 2 months or something, and there was like, fuck it.
It was like a year, like half a year.
Yeah.
It was
And he
insane.
chose Merrick Garland. Merrick Garland.
As an olive branch. Mike, as an olive branch. So the Republicans will see how reasonable he is. Because after 8 years, he didn't fucking clue in to the fact that they're not reasonable people.
No.
It's all, the shit is so insane to me. That they still at the end of his term, he still tried to like reach out.
We almost got
insane?
Social Security cut because Obama was trying to reach out to.
right.
Don't forget, he
goodness.
wanted this grand bargain with Republicans, so he could show he was Mr. Bipartisan, and he was ready to put Social Security and Medicare and all these things on the table. And if Republicans actually wanted that stuff more than they hated the first black president, they would have got it. But at the end of the day,
Republicans ended up blocking that, right?
Yeah, they blocked.
Yeah, they just didn't want to give.
They hated Obama so much.
They didn't want to give Obama that quote unquote win where he would get the credit for doing what they always wanted to do.
My goodness. The thing they wanted all their lives. See, that's the model, though, right? If Democrats don't know this by now, they all need to be tarred and feathered, because Republicans only have one rule: opposition. Period. It doesn't matter. They have no belief system, whatever. But look at how they played the fence. They started
the border
on the fence with Gaza. I started seeing some conservatives start saying sympathetic things about Gaza, but then as soon as Joe Biden actually made up his mind to kind of say, okay, ceasefire, kind of, sort of, then Republicans found their voice and they said, okay, we could be in opposition. It doesn't matter. The Heritage Foundation, they came up with Obamacare, Romney Care. As soon as Obama came up with it, opposition. They have no principles. They just oppose.
Yeah, as Ole said, she put it best. I'm going to paraphrase. She said something to the effect of like, yeah, their position is fuck you. That's it. Like, it doesn't matter if they said this 5 months ago.
It's
fuck
owning
you.
the libs.
That's it. Yeah, it's literally like it sounds like an oversimplification, but that literally is their ethos. Like, if you don't have to look deeper, analyze them, and figure out what their motivations are, it's just fuck you, right?
It's what they
and look how effective it is.
What's most interesting is we're now seeing this do that same thing to themselves.
That's right.
Because of that Arizona abortion law.
Yes.
That decision that was just made, where the Supreme Court in Arizona upheld this 1868 or some year like that
Civil War era
abortion law, where basically all forms of abortion in Arizona are illegal except if the life of the mother is in danger, and you know what that means, that it actually has to get to the point where like she's gonna fucking die before a doctor will be like, oh, okay, I'm safe to do this and I won't go to jail for trying to save her earlier when I actually could have saved her and she's probably gonna die anyway now. But what you're seeing now, you're seeing Carrie Lake, who, when she was running for governor, all the way back in, what was it, 10, 20, 30, 2022, she was saying that, oh, that law is great. I can't wait for it to be the law of the land in Arizona. And now that it's the law in the land of Arizona, she's going, oh, that's too far. We've gone too far. Trump is out there going, oh, Arizona. I played a video the other day where he goes, where he says, oh, you know, that went too far, but don't worry. The governor of Arizona will take care of it and fix it. The governor of Arizona is the Democrat who beat Carrie Lake. So Trump's saying, oh, don't worry about the abortion law that just passed in Arizona completely because of me, my doing, because the Democratic governor in Arizona who defeated the candidate I endorsed, who supported that law, she'll take care of it and make sure that no one gets, you know, in trouble for it. Like I'm seeing online, Republicans, like the pro-life news website or whatever, you could find like tweets of them like proudly going like, oh, I did that when it comes to Roe v. Wade being repealed. And then you say to them, to the Arizona thing, yeah, you did that. And they go, no, we didn't. That's not what we wanted. No, yeah, no, it is.
To be clear,
they
though, Trump
fucking own this. And people need to remind them over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. This is what they wanted. This is what they got because they wanted it. The idea that they're trying to run from it, the thing they always wanted, is insane.
Yeah, but to be clear, the thing with Trump, he's changing his tune for an electoral strategy right now, right? Like that's the whole reason he's coming forward and saying that, like, at states' rights, I actually, we don't want to do a blanket ban on abortion. We're going to leave it up to each of the states. He's only going Reagan with this because they know how deeply unpopular it'll be for the next election if he keeps pushing the Lindsey Graham line. You know, that's the reason he's softening on that issue.
Yeah, I think
this is a losing battle for Republicans. If they I say put this on the ballot in all 50 states. I mean, get it out there. Let people know exactly who supports it and what's on the line here. Get them out to vote.
Mm-hmm. It speaks to how deceitful they've been, though, right? Because now the line from so many conservatives is, listen, I understand I'm still pro-life, but we've got to win these elections, which kind of goes to show you they never thought that it was murder in the first place, right? Because you don't treat what you think is mass murder like that, right? Like we see how people respond to murder on the Democratic Party side. They're leveraging their votes against Joe Biden. They're voting uncommitted. They're not just saying, well, you know, Donald Trump has to win this election or Biden has to win this election. Like on the Trump side, you see so many conservatives saying, well, you know, I get it. Trump has to win this election. It's bizarre. And then what's so contradictory is that Trump will say, like he released this video on Truth Social saying, yeah, you know, I take credit for Roe v. Wade, and we're actually the moderates, but I wouldn't sign a federal abortion ban, and Democrats support aborting babies after they're born. So he makes up these lies, but then he says, and I support states' rights on this issue. But it's like, well, hang on a second, though. So you support, like, you make up this lie, and then you say, that's okay, I support that, actually. I support states doing that. You wouldn't respond to murder that way if you actually thought it was murder. So they're giving away the game. They're showing all of their cards here. And I just love the tap dance that they're doing. Like the statement that Carrie Lake released, I don't know if you all saw it. It was so hilarious to me because she's like, I will be against a federal abortion ban, but against federal funds for abortion. And I support states' rights, but not this state right in particular. It's just so wild to me because they don't know what to do. And there's so many receipts from just a couple of years ago. So like they're kind of backed into a corner and they can't come out of it because they made this bed for themselves and they're lying, you know, in it now. It's like the dog catching the car. They don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
Anything else on that issue before we talk about OJ?
Orenthal.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Was such a weird story. I was not expecting that.
OJ?
Yeah, I didn't know he was sick.
Me either. Yeah.
The last
I'm not even sure what there's to say on it. I mean, he died of cancer. The only thing that I'll ever remember about OJ, I mean, apart from the obvious, is just that being in, I think I was in grade 5, and for some reason we were listening to the verdict on the radio. Like, that's not, I feel like
to my school.
I feel like that's not a thing.
Yeah.
And apparently that's a very common thing that happened. I feel like that's weird. Like playing the verdict
it was a
for
major,
children. Like
it was
a major moment in history. Like we were watching it. The entire school. I was in high school. The entire school was watching, waiting for the verdict. And when he got found not guilty, I was in the blackest neighborhood of South Florida, man. We all came running out, cheering at the top of our lungs, celebrating. We thought we won the Super Bowl, man.
Yeah, of course, doing the saying, if it doesn't fit, you must have quit.
There was attorney Darden, I think his name. He was one of the prosecutors, and he wrote about it again after George Zimmerman. After George Zimmerman got away with murdering Trayvon Martin, attorney Darden wrote about how a lot of people celebrated when OJ got off, and that was misplaced. But it was like, when you look at the injustices that came afterwards, it was just really, really interesting how he put it like that. But it was a milestone. So if you guys were watching it in 5th grade, that means we're just a little bit older than you. We were watching it in high school, and people were watching it in colleges. It was everywhere when they came down with that verdict.
Yeah, I was in 4th grade, and yeah, I remember the teachers busting out the TV on the rolling cart, and everyone was watching it. And it was weird because like the kids were like, I was talking with my friends, and the teacher was like, shh, shh. Like everybody was just like glued to the TV. And I didn't really understand why. I was in 4th grade. Like I did not have the attention span. And like, I remember a conversation with, kids at the table. One girl was like, I think that he's not guilty. And then another kid was like, no, he's definitely guilty. And I'm in 4th grade. I'm like, I don't know what those words mean. Like, what is guilty, not guilty? I don't know. Like, I'm completely tuned out. I just remember the reactions and being deeply bored by it, because it's like,
deeply bored.
Yeah, I was deeply bored. And I'm just like, why are we watching this? Can I like read my Goosebumps book or some shit? Like, I don't understand. I'm in 4th grade. I'm 8.
It's also how we got the Kardashians, if I'm not mistaken. Right?
I just saw somebody in the chat say that.
Can you explain that? How did that happen?
Their
I don't know how it happened, but I just know
dad. What was it?
Their dad was his lawyer.
Name. Yeah, it was one of the lawyers for the case. Excuse me, y'all.
I just want to be clear. Kim Kardashian's dad is not Johnny Cochran. No, there was another lawyer.
And I remember they showed videos of Kim and everybody being there at the trial during the case and everything. I'm like, oh my gosh, they look like regular people.
Yeah,
that was. I don't think we put it on the radio. If I recall, I can't recall really. I don't remember how old I was then. Yeah, I guess I'm Mike's age, right? How old are you again, Mike?
37.
All right, yeah. So I was probably in 4th.
I will be 37. I shouldn't over age myself.
I do remember the being home when the Bronco chase was on.
It was the NBA Finals that night.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember the final.
Yeah, it was the only time in history where during the NBA Finals they actually had to do a picture-in-picture and show the Bronco chase in the corner and start like cutting in and out of the audio between the actual live finals and the chase. Yeah.
So I think nobody remembers the Space Shuttle Challenger blowing up.
That happened the same day?
No. It happened like years before, like 10 years
before. 86, wasn't it? It was like 86.
Like a decade before it.
Wait, what?
No, it was about 5 years before that. Something anyway, but yeah, no, you guys are too young. That's all I'm saying. You guys are
you know, I remember. Yeah.
I know you see that that was for Generation X.
I do remember 9/11.
Well, I
hope so.
Well, I mean, that was later.
Wouldn't you have been like 19 or something?
No, Lance. I was like 14. Okay.
The Challenger exploded 8 years before the Bronco chase. So I mean,
86. Yeah, that's what I thought.
86. Okay.
It was the year I was born. Was the Challenger explosion?
Oh wow!
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I was only 6, but I remember.
Damn, I was 8 years old then, and I remember watching that in school too. Like I remember being in class because they had it on TV, and it was just something amazing to remember. And when it exploded, it was just like, wait, is
something wrong?
Was that supposed to happen?
Yeah.
It was a lot of confusion going on around the time. A lot of confusion.
Wait, okay. What about Waco, Texas? Did anybody remember watching that?
Oh, Jesus!
I didn't.
I don't think we watched that.
Oh,
no, I think
man.
that was
My
too,
gosh, man.
Probably too scary to show us in terms of like.
That was
at
93.
that age.
I feel like there were a lot of these like really tragic mass events that brought like people, like whether you're children or like whether like you're adults together, that don't, as far as I can tell, don't really happen the same way anymore. Like I can't really put like, unless maybe Trump getting elected, but that's an election. Like just random events like that happened seemingly every couple of years don't
right around the
really seem to happen the same way
COVID
anymore.
COVID kind of affected everybody.
Yeah, I get it's
It's still happening.
Not really televised the same way. You can't really televise COVID like you televise Waco.
I've divided my life into two different segments: pre-COVID and post-COVID.
Yes.
Where I feel like as crazy as things were pre-COVID, things got even crazier post-COVID. Like you could probably do this like pre 9/11, post 9/11, but for me, it's mostly like
same with October 7th, actually.
That's true. Yeah, there's been too many huge world-changing events for millennials, right? Like that's what it's like the worst history ever. But like, just how many economic crashes, how many massive like geopolitical events, instigated by our governments. Yeah, so much happened just within the span of like 20 years.
Too much.
Yeah.
Too bad there's no positive like big events that happen that can bring us all
Not
together.
one. Can we name one?
I feel like
one good thing that's happened to humanity. Come on, folks.
I mean, the fact that we're all still here, I guess that's a positive thing. I don't.
That's probably about the only thing, huh?
You know what I'll say? The widespread adoption. Well, this one is kind of negative. I would say the widespread adoption of the internet. But there's been a lot of bad that came with that too, I will say. Like, we have unlimited access to information, theoretically, but people have chosen to just go in their little conspiratorial corners and racist Nazi corners and kind of, harbor away with those views, or harbor those views, I should say. But
who remembers the internet before corporate takeover?
I do.
Pre-internet.
Yeah.
What a time. What a time.
Oh, yeah.
Before social media, I feel like social media changed the internet completely.
Yes, it did.
I remember corporations didn't know what to do with the internet. And it was like, yes, stay away. Little did I know.
It's the wild, wild west.
I remember me and my friend, we'd go to the library before my family had internet, and we would use the computers there. And we would just go on the CBS.com survivor chat rooms and just troll people there. For no reason, like I don't know how we were like 10 years old, just posting the dumbest shit, like fart, burp, and then like trying to direct message other users and ask them to marry us, and we just laugh hysterically like it was the funniest shit in the world. So that's like my first kind of memories of the internet, me being a dipshit online.
Mine is looking up video game codes. That was my early internet days. That's pretty much what I use the internet for.
Mine was just getting the AOL CDs. They used to come in the mail every week. So it was like use the access code and then blocking the internet, the phone connection whenever somebody's trying to use the phone.
Somebody's gone.
Who got cut off the internet? I'm so old. Jesus.
My JPEGs. I almost saw boom. Come on.
Yeah, I remember that too. And if somebody was on the phone, you could actually listen to their conversation when it was dialing in. Because I remember my sister was on the phone with her boyfriend, and I kept trying to get online, and so she could hear the dialing, so she knew that I was trying to get on. But she was like, "Oh no, Mike's trying to get on. He's gonna be pissed at me. I said he could use the computer." And then her boyfriend was like, "Oh, who gives a shit?" And I'm like, "That fucking ass!" Like, I was listening to all of this shit. So it's coming through my speakers.
Wait, that was coming from the modem? You could hear it through? Like,
you could hear it.
He's talking about when someone else was calling. No, he's talking about two calls, not.
Oh, okay.
You couldn't hear people.
when you do the dial tone, like the weird AOL sound, like when it's dialing the internet, if somebody's on the phone, you can actually hear that conversation.
Yeah, it would come through.
That's what I heard.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so it that could be really incriminating depending on what you're talking about. But I just heard them shit talking me.
I remember Napster
So bad.
scared my grandma that she thought like magic was real when I was like, name me any song you want, and I will have it in a couple hours, like 2 hours.
Couple hours,
yeah, I know.
High speed internet. What's that?
Yeah, I know.
Man,
any song but Gin and Juice by Snoop Dogg, because he would always get that weird pop punk ska version of it whenever he would try to download it. It was actually a pretty good cover, but it's not the original.
It was a good cover. That's weird. I know.
Yes, LimeWire was mine. I saw somebody in the chat talk about
LimeWire. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
I used to DJ using LimeWire a lot. That's where I get all my music from. It gets all kind of exclusives. Computer full of viruses.
Yep. I used to use. I think Morpheus was one that was real good.
I used Morpheus for a while too.
It was Morpheus,
and
Kazaa, Napster.
Yeah. Oh, that was the golden age. That was before everyone just paid for streaming services. Now
you play all your songs via Winamp.
Yeah.
Cool visualizer.
Yeah. Oh man.
Whenever there'd be a real player file, you'd be like, "What the fuck? Why did I got to use this terrible software? Real player."
Life was so much more uncomplicated back then. I never thought I'd get to the point where I'm like back in my day, but
we had dial-up internet.
Yeah. Back before high speed, before DSL, we had peace and prosperity.
Don't have to worry about none of that stuff.
Yeah.
George Bush was president. Everything was great.
Yeah. Bread was 99 cents. Hello.
Well, I was on the internet back when Bill Clinton was president, so I was connected Bill Clinton to the internet in terms of like the era, I should say. Not that Bill Clinton and the internet have anything to do with each other. I'm talking about the era. But like in the late 90s when like pro wrestling was at its peak with the Attitude Era. I was doing like the E federations, the role playing as a wrestler, and we were doing like the WWE like live chat quizzes and stuff like that. That was fun stuff.
Yeah, there were some old wrestling. I forget the names of them now, but there were some old wrestling sites I used to go to, and they had basically
OneWrestling.com.
Was that one of them? For me, like the internet was it was video games and wrestling. That was like pretty much what I used before. Now was it.
I remember one line about your porn.
Mostly video games.
That's all I'm going to say. I only use it for video games. Just video games.
Just video games. That was all.
I was a good boy.
Liar.
So a little different.
Yeah, I was good for a couple of years until the internet corrupted me. My first, like when we first got like our computer, I was like 17, and so I could pay for internet when I got a job, and I bought my sister's old computer. And like when everybody went to bed, the first thing I looked up was how to not be gay, and I was trying to find like conversion therapy camps.
Oh man!
You know, is that something that all gay people look up? Because I think I looked it up as well too.
Right? I remember like it starts with like, "Am I gay?" and then you find out no, it's totally normal for men to be attracted to other men. I'm like, oh, thank God. Okay, it's normal. All straight guys want to.
Broke my heart,
awesome.
Mike. Oh, that. It sucks, man.
Yeah, probably more incriminating than porn. As a young man, you know. But
was
yeah,
that search history.
That was my like spiciest search history.
But wait, it sounds like it had a happy ending. Like it didn't actually make you hate yourself more. It made you realize you were normal, which is
that was the start of a very long period. Of like, okay, so I got to try these things to fight it. Because conversion therapy was like, I think it was costly, and it was also really hard to do it inconspicuously because I didn't want my family to be like, oh, why does he want to go to converssion therapy? You know what I mean? So like there were like these methods that you can
light
try.
bulb entrances, like a big sign that said
"Feeling gay,
enter
come
here."
Yeah. So like that. So I did the at-home methods where it was like, okay, if you feel a same-sex attraction, put a rubber band on your wrist and then like hit yourself with it, so that way you associate that attraction with pain. And I'm like, okay, this is, and like for 2 days, I'm like, this is really working. And I'm like, okay, it's not working. Okay. what's the? So I would like try to do like at home methods. It was like gay conversion homeopathy, right?
That's so messed up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why did you make me laugh? I'm torn on the inside, but then you said gay conversion homeopathy. It's like the ginger ale version. Our grandma told us to get some ginger ale that fixed anything. You feeling gay?
No, it is genuinely funny because like the way that when I finally stopped fighting it was because I was watching Mind of Mencia. I was watching Carlos Mencia. That was after Chappelle's show had ended. And so he became my new favorite because I was desperate for Chappelle. And then he had this weird segment. He was singing a dumbass song. And he was like, if you think you might be gay, then you're gay. And I was listening to that. And I was like triggered. I'm like, that's such bullshit. It's not that simple. And I'm like, wait, is it that simple? And I'm like, oh no. Oh
I gotta
no.
say, like, this is the first time I've ever heard anyone say something good about Carlos Mencia.
I was gonna say Carlos Mencia made you realize you're gay.
Like unironically, yeah. I gotta say, he put it into the most simplistic terms to where like my 19-year-old brain was like, oh, maybe I've been overthinking it. But yeah.
And knowing what I know about Carlos Mencia, he probably stole that from somebody else. And
Probably. Yeah. I'm glad he did though. Because I heard it.
One person.
It saved your life.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Do we want to play this clip that I've been laughing at since I saw it? From you guys probably saw it. Jesse Waters on the Valuetainment podcast.
Yes, please. Do you have
I dropped it in the chat for
grab
whoever can screen share it. Because
this clip was so triggering, but yet so like funny at the same time, just because he's so goddamn stupid.
The minimum wage one.
Yeah.
If you're making $20 an hour to work at a fast food restaurant, right? Is that 6 figures? Are you making
No. 40 grand. 50 is just to exit and add a few zeros.
Okay, so
40K a year.
Okay,
full time.
40K a year.
Yeah.
So, and then if your husband or wife is also there, you're making $100,000 as a family.
Sure.
Both working at McDonald's.
80 grand.
How did he screw that up twice? He got the math completely wrong twice within like 5 seconds.
Like, there's so much ridiculous here, though. Like, yes, it's ridiculous that he thought $20 per hour times 40 hours a week equals 6 figures. That's insane to believe that. Second of all, obviously he doesn't know math because he couldn't do 40,000 plus 4, 40 plus 40, 40,000.
4 plus 4.
But then, to me, like a completely overlooked thing here is his point he's trying to make is that you shouldn't be making 6 figures while working at McDonald's. I think you should, but he thinks you shouldn't. But once he realizes that his point is ludicrous because nobody's making that amount, he goes to this absolutely ridiculous scenario where if you're working at McDonald's, and then of course your partner is obviously also working with you at McDonald's too. I mean, what is like? Are there couples that work together at the same restaurant or fast food place? I'm sure there is. Is it like the norm? No. Like what? Like who goes like, oh, I'm going to get a job at McDonald's that'll be around $40,000 a year, but don't worry, I'll just double it because my wife is obviously going to also be working with me.
My first managers at McDonald's was a husband and wife team, so there you go.
Actually,
wow. No, I can see
manager though. So he had the hire. One of them had the hiring power.
Yeah,
they can make it happen.
That's true.
That is okay. That's crazy. That is crazy. Because that job really doesn't require much. So it's inflating the entire, labor sector. And the Happy Meal. And the Happy Meal.
Unhappy, unhappy.
Which I'm very unhappy about. But
it's so ironic because he makes $5 million per year to talk.
That doesn't require anything.
Yeah. No skill whatsoever.
He can't do 4 plus 4. Like that.
Right.
Fucking stupid.
But making how much money a year?
$5 million.
Man, get the hell out of here.
Right? Wow. But somebody who works at McDonald's, all day on their feet, deals with terrible people, horrible customers who like bitch and complain about the dumbest things. You forgot my pickles. I hope you die. They don't deserve a living wage. Like, it's just, you could tell, like, this just oozes entitlement, and he's never, ever worked in the service industry. Not a single day in his life. Because,
and I hate the idea that like, doing nothing or it's a skillless job. Anyone who's ever worked a service industry job knows that to be good at it, like to actually like do the job good, it takes tremendous skill, especially in fast food.
Patience is the word.
Patience. The ability to be personal and deal with people. The ability to deal with people who are treating you like garbage without giving it back to them the same way. And then also, it takes skill to make that food good, accurately to the customized order, and do it quickly too. Like, these people are dealing with like hundreds of orders per like hour, and they got to get it out there, customized to each order, to each customer. It's got to taste exactly how it's supposed to taste, which means no fucking up a single thing about how long it gets, heated up for or what goes with what. It takes skill to do it good and quickly. I'm sorry.
And I put a lot of burgers together in my day.
So I worked for Steak and Shake in college, and we worked the overnight shift. There was like 3 or 4 of us, and we would walk from campus to the Steak and Shake. It's only like a mile or 2 away, so we would walk every night and work at this Steak and Shake. And when I tell y'all, never again. Well, I think we worked for maybe made it a month. My roommate stayed for a while, but I made it a month, and after a while, I'm just like, just dealing with people's attitudes and everything. I just can't do it. I cannot do it. But I will say a few people got to,
like steak, but it's steaks and shakes. Like we don't have that in Canada.
They're like steak. Oh, really, Lance?
Yeah, we don't have
steak and shake. It's really good. It's like steak burgers. I guess you can say that. Like flattened down.
Yeah, it's like a hamburger place, right?
Yes,
then they make milkshakes.
Yeah. But I will say this: that a few people got special milkshakes, and just like Terry might have fell on the floor. He's gonna pop that shit right on top of it because y'all are not gonna.
Let me tell you,
like that.
Always treat your service workers right.
Yes,
always.
Exactly. Why don't people realize this? Yeah,
and I gotta say, it also takes skill to give them those special shakes without them noticing.
Wrong. I'm not gonna send it back because I'm not gonna aggravate anybody on staff. No, it's fine. Just bring it to me the way it is. I'm good.
Jesse Waters should be afraid now of going to McDonald's. That's
he definitely should.
He should fear every order.
Fast food workers, like, remember his face.
These service workers, like especially like the fast food industry, like they literally run the productivity of all these businesses. Think about like Manhattan, Midtown Manhattan, all these offices coming out for lunchtime between like 11 and like 3. Where are a lot of people going? They're going to McDonald's, they're going to Burger King, they're going to Wendy's, they're going to Taco Bell. These service industry workers feed the people who go back to their offices and do everything they need to do productivity-wise to make all this money for all the corporations. So give me a break that these service industry workers aren't worth $20 at least.
Yeah, but did you see that In-N-Out burger went up by 10 cents? The hamburger, it was $3.50 to $3.60.
No.
Yeah,
5 cent raise on the French fries is what took me out. I was like, "Are you?" And they posted it like this is an atrocity. Let's go to war.
I hate so much how people look down on people in the service industry, fast food, retail. I'm like, one thing that is still till this day, it pisses me off. I was pushing carts at Walmart when I was working there, and I heard this woman under her breath tell her kid, "That's why you go to college. That's why you go to college." Like, she didn't intend for me to hear, so it's not like she was talking shit to me, but I heard it, and it's like I had a college degree. I was getting my master's at that point. I couldn't find a fucking job. That's why I'm here. And
you should have. If you heard that when she said it, you should have been like, "Oh, excuse me, ma'am, just to point out, oh, I went to college," and then you should have looked directly at the kid and been like, "This is where you'll be very soon."
After paying all your damn money, this is exactly where you'll be.
And you'd also find people that were like very patronizing. Because I worked from Blockbuster, Subway in the same little mall area, and then I worked at Walmart. And then one lady who was really sweet, she's like, "Hey, you're not going to be working in," like, she saw me at Walmart after, she's like, "You're not going to be working in retail forever, right?" I'm like, yeah, I can't find a job. But like, if I were, that's not a bad thing. Like, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're inferior if you're like, it's a job. The bad thing is that you're not getting paid enough and that you're getting treated like shit.
Yeah, that's it.
Hey, Rebecca.
What'd you say?
Rebecca, I don't know if you've met Ben and DJ Exclusive.
Listen, welcome everybody to Like It or Not, where we're free to tell it to you. I'm just kidding.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Not my crew being with my crew. I think it's so adorable. I love it. I love it so much. What y'all out here talking about?
Rebecca?
I've been okay. I've been fine. Working, and they trying to, I don't know what y'all talking about, but I know they're trying to get me to come back into the office full time. And yeah, that sucks. So I've been dealing with those type of things, but it's all right. Like, you know, we all right. We're still here. So, you know, until that time does come, but you know, that's what I've been dealing with at work. So I've been going back and forth with them about that. But other than that, I've been good. How you guys been?
Good.
So you're saying everyone's to go subscribe and support your channel, hit up your Venmo, make sure that never has to happen. It's up to you watching right now.
Yeah. Do you have a Patreon, Rebecca?
I don't have a Patreon, but I do have Cash App. I don't have a Patreon, but I do have Cash App. It's Becca's Voice, Rebecca's or at gmail.com for PayPal. Listen, get your girl. We always say free us because we still got to do 9 to 5s and hold it down in the background. So, you know, it's all good though. You know,
we have to ramp up the effort to have you go full time.
So I can give you guys more, so I can push out more stuff, more media, more, you know, like clips, you know, have more conversations, have time to be on shows, like, you know, those things. If I go into the office, that's going to prevent me that's going to prevent it all. Like, I can't do a thing because then, you know how when you go into the office, you got to wake up 2 hours before, and you know, I like to be cute, so then I have to get myself together because I got to go into the what they call the building the Green Monster, right? For this financial institution, because when you go in there, you're like, you try to be like, okay, I'm going to take on the day, and sometimes you can't even leave for lunch because if you do that, you won't make it in time back to your desk. And if you're a couple of minutes, they give you about 5-minute grace period. But we live in Atlanta, there's traffic, you know, by the time you leave and come back. So you don't leave the building. You don't even know if it rained that day. You don't know. People literally, you can see them walking around to do their workouts because they never get to work out. So you basically live in there. And so when you leave, you just feel so drained. So they call it the Green Monster because it sucks you in when you get in there. So, but that ain't gonna be my story. You okay? We just gonna have to be confident that ain't gonna be my story. Right? It ain't my ministry.
Yeah.
Okay, what you guys are talking about though? We're not gonna bring it down. Let's get it up. What were you guys talking about before I got?
We were talking about minimum wage and how minimum wage apparently is making the cost of hamburgers in California be 10 cents more and stuff like that, and just destroying civilization, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and we were siding against the 10-cent increase and just said let the workers, you know, work.
We were saying we should be paying them for less. We should go back. We should go back to the.
I want a $1.
Roll back even the $7.25 national minimum wage. That's too much.
Yeah. So there is we watched a clip from Jesse Waters who was saying that he thought that $20 an hour fast food workers were making $100K a year. And he was saying that that's bad.
That's the right reaction.
Right. Should we play it again for you? Have you not seen this?
Yeah.
I can play it again.
It's short. We can play it again. Yeah.
It's a short one.
I kind of want Rebecca's reaction to
Run
this.
it back for me.
If you're making $20 an hour to work at a fast food restaurant, right? Is that 6 figures? Are you making
No.
40
grand. 50 is just 2 exits and add a few zeros.
Okay, so
40K a year.
Okay,
full time.
40K a year.
Yeah.
So, and then if your husband or wife is also there, you're making $100,000 as a family.
Sure.
Both working at McDonald's.
80 grand.
That is okay. That's crazy. That is crazy, because that job really doesn't require much. So it's inflating the entire, labor sector
and the Happy Meal.
And the Happy Meal.
Unhappy, very unhappy.
Which I'm very unhappy about. But
he doesn't even know what the fuck he's saying.
No, labor sector.
What we call it?
He said the labor sector.
Inflates the whole labor market for some reason. I don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah, whatever.
I just can't get over realize what he's saying too. Like, he does the 40 hours times 20. He doesn't realize
4 + 4
what
is
that
10.
means. that's 40K. But then when he says that the incredible, I just can't get over the idea that you would bring this up as if it's like the norm. Oh, the couples that work at McDonald's together, that common thing that happens all the time. But what he's saying is that working 80 hours a week for 80K annually is too much money.
It's too much money.
It's too much. 80 hours a week.
Yeah.
80 hours a week for 80K a year is too much money.
Y'all see grocery prices? People want to say, okay, like they want to say, oh, the gas is down now. Baby, it's still more expensive than it ever was. We talked about rent on Saturday on Like It or Not, and we did like the whole show about rent, and we discussed how, listen, that is still not enough to cover what the 45K or whatever the case may be. And they ain't even talking about the taxes that's taken out and the money that we can't even touch in the 401K, you know what I'm saying, to cover all the other stuff. And the money that you got to pay back when you holding out on your taxes so that you can use that extra couple $100 to go ahead and buy you something to eat if you got big head kids or if it's just you in your home. Like you got light bills, you got your car notes, you got to have renter's insurance for these places. Like this is that money is not, at the end of the day, it does not equal to what they pay. It goes away. And then what the funny thing is, like with wages, right? Our wages are not going up to match everything. So you're talking about this we need to be getting paid more than that. And you're talking about this person with their partner. Some people are single as hell because we can't afford nothing. So listen, I can't even afford to get a snack. So I can't afford a relationship right now. So I'm by myself. So my money doesn't even hold it down for me. So all of this whole conversation and with this man who's making whatever money because he got a mic.
$5 million a year. $5 million a year.
So
that's
he
how
gets
much
to
you
sit
pay by
down
Fox.
and speak on the lives of people who are poor or middle classes that's still poor, or the other, right before that, but that's still poor too, just poor, and then poor. So at the end of the day, like they should not be ahead of these conversations, but people listen to them and then they make up phrases like, the labor sector or whatever. You're talking about like McDonald's and stuff. Stop it. You don't know what it's like to be in a person who's having to work at McDonald's or whatever, with whatever pay, and then not be able to pay your bills. Or there's so much that goes into it. And these are the people who are at the forefront of the conversations when there's everyday people like us who are actually living it. Like we're getting paid these amounts and we're still struggling. Do you understand? Like we're still struggling. So miss me with all of that.
Right.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they take fast food workers for granted. If they didn't have access to like quick food, like they would be pissed, right? If the shelves weren't stocked when they go to Walmart, they would be pissed. So they feel like, oh, this is just such a disposable job. It's unnecessary. This is just for teenagers. That's not the reality of the economy. It is legitimate work, and this is a job for people for their whole lives. Like when I worked at Walmart, I had elderly people that were there that couldn't retire that were working, right? So it's like you can't just discount this as temporary work. Like this has been the line for Republicans for such a long time. It's just not the reality. And Rebecca, I watched your show, your guys' show on Saturday for Like It or Not, and a point that you made was so good about how your rent had basically gone up by $1,000, but your wages have not increased. And I was talking to my niece who's looking for housing right now. And I was telling Ben and DJ Exclusive about this before. So I told my niece that in 2010, I had an apartment for $500 a month. It was like the cheapest one that I could find. Super cheap, right? And that was with my Blockbuster salary plus student loans. And I'm like, why don't you see how much they're charging? I asked her because it's a shitty apartment. Like you can hear people farting literally in the apartment over, like literally.
That's a bonus for some people.
I guess so. And I told her, I'm like, check it out and see if they have any openings. It's cheap. It should be, And she did. It's like $1,700 now. It's been 14 years, but like to go from 500 to 1,700, like that is a massive jump.
So there's no rent freeze in Atlanta, I guess, then, right? Because like where I'm from, BC, you can't increase rent for more than 3% every year. That's the max that you're allowed to. It's 3%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Listen, I know. Look, Ben is bored by this rental conversation. let me say something right now, Ben. You're gonna stay right here because we're gonna spice this conversation up. I don't know if you guys heard or however. First of all, we're not skipping the rent conversation because it's not good, but we've already had it and Ben falling asleep. We gotta spice it up. All right, we gotta wake Ben up. So what we're gonna do is discuss it. Ben, I know that you're into Ben, I know you're into hip hop culture, right? DJ Exclusive, I know you're into music. And so, right? I don't know if you guys heard, but I wanted to get all of you guys, I love the blending of the teams. We're merging together. I wanted to just get you guys' opinion on, you have the rappers who are going toe to toe all day, every day right now. We're seeing that. But specifically, it's Kendrick Lamar. Look, I know you was, but you're not going nowhere, man. It's Kendrick Lamar, and it's also J. Cole.
Drake.
J. Cole.
And you're thinking Drake.
Well, I guess Drake's
the big three.
The big three.
The big three.
Yes, but it's the song that came off on Future's latest album with Metro Boomin, and the song that there was a diss with Kendrick Lamar towards J. Cole. Really and so it's a really good song. But so J. Cole responded initially with a diss record and on a mixtape, I guess. Yeah, 7 minutes. And it was it
might
was
delete
good.
later.
Right. But everybody was like, it was really good. And they were like, oh, okay, we got some rap beef going on, whatever. And people were choosing sides as usual. But he went on to apologize. He being J. Cole at his concert, he zenned out and he was like, listen, I made a mistake by responding to that when that's a really aggressive great man. And I did something that is now out of my character. I'm not even that person anymore type of thing. And it's, it sent me back mentally, it kind of made me relapse mentally. And I just want to, take it back. And people were saying, man, that rap beef. We need to, continue on with rap beef. And, he ain't no real rapper because he's, bowing out of the game. But to me, my process is if he said he relapsed mentally, sometimes we change as like, shoot, I ain't the person I was this morning. You know what I'm saying? So, but sometimes you have to understand, like, okay, I went in kind of into what social media and the media and everybody wanted me to step into, but that's just not who I am. I'm just going to apologize and move on. And some people are now calling him like weak for that, but I think it's really social media related because I feel like the pressures of the media and all that, they were waiting for it, and he's like, nigga got bars, like I got bars, I could do all this, whatever, and then he did something that wasn't even like him. So what's your guys' take on that? I don't know. I'm gonna start with Ben though.
Rebecca Zora, I want you to remember this. All I said was I was just trying to go to bed.
I saw it
like that the whole show, Becca.
You got the big head because you got a team. So I understand.
Now who the rapper, the hippity hoppity what now?
Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole. You know the story,
right?
No, I know the whole story. I just I'm glad J. Cole did what he did because people want to monetize your beef, and it's just there's way too many rappers who get killed now. I remember when it was just Biggie and Pac.
Yeah,
rappers getting killed every other weekend here. So but not. I don't think it would have ever escalated that much for J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar, and they're both gods, MCs. Like they both carry their own weight. So I don't even know what it was all about or what it was. But in terms of getting pulled back into what you used to be, I certainly understand that part because I've been trying my very best not to cuss since I've been pastoring, but dealing with these racists on Twitter, they pulling me back into what I used to do. I get that.
Your tweets are amazing, by the way, Ben.
I wish I could say it. You just have to tweet.
Ben has the best tweets. Yeah,
he absolutely does.
I that the other day.
If you want
it now, Rebecca, no, joking.
Go to Benjamin Dixon's Twitter account and just click on replies, and you'll be entertained.
Oh, it's great.
So
That's great on Twitter. I love it.
He's good. Not your camera going out on these people's show. Look, why we can't act right? Why y'all can't come here and act right?
It was fully charged, man. It did a you on your show.
It did. But I do want to get your point as a DJ too, because this is the way I feel about it. This is the type of stuff that the right. See if I can make this. If I can just do a little political slide with it. This is the type of stuff that the right likes to take on, like this type of stuff, and they'll choose a side, and they'll because I guess J. Cole said something that was somewhat in some which way, shape, or form homophobic. That's what they say. And so
no, he was definitely transphobic in 7.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay,
there's no question. It's pretty.
So at this point, the right jump on it. You know what? J. Cole's a great rapper.
Yeah,
J. Cole. So this is the stuff, and so I felt like he was pressured or whatever, doing something that he's grown from, and then now being pulled back into his old self. But this is the type of stuff that the right will pick up, a certain group of people will pick up on the internet and put out and focus on. He did say something that was transphobic, and that's what they'll focus on, and they have, and those are the things, and now kind of like making him get out of himself. So capitalizing on these moments.
Also, Kendrick is very much trans affirming and LGBTQ plus affirming. He has
got a
song. Yeah, he has a song about his trans uncle on his last album. So if that wasn't already like a reason for the right to be against him.
It's a really good track.
So DJ Exclusive, what's your take?
When I first heard about everything that was going on, so to be fair, I have not listened to either one of the songs. I probably did hear them, but I was just like, I'm not playing into it. So I've just been social media trolling with both of them, listening to clips and pieces, and I can't even tell you what each one was said, but I did see the apology that J. Cole put out, and I'm like, okay, that shows a little courage, or shows a little step up in the game to put that out and say, hey, I apologize. I shouldn't have did that, but what's done is done. And then I saw some other artists like Queen Latifah, a lot of people that's been in the game for a long time, saying, hey, it's still cool. Rap beef is rap beef, and it still helps the game a little bit. You know what I'm saying? To at least let people be themselves, and y'all beef it out. As long as y'all not taking it to the streets or being just upright terrible about it, it's cool. But I'm glad it happened, because it's just like, now to me the rap beef is what sells. Because as you see, y'all may not know, but City Girls are beefing, and I was hurt by that.
Do you guys
know
City
really?
Girls? Look, who knows City Girls are big? I know City Girls.
Wait, they're beefing.
Matt,
with each
it's a
other?
question to Matt.
Yeah, Matt.
Matt, do you know City Girls? I knew it.
That honestly is so...
That's okay.
I didn't know this. Oh, I'm literally heartbroken. What the fuck?
Yeah,
Mike. Yeah, it was disappointing when I found it out too. I'm just like, are y'all beefing? Like, what is this? And like going hard on Twitter.
I think it's the pressures of social media.
Wow.
Your favorite
is,
yes. I think that they start to take on the pressures of what people say about y'all or them, and then they pick up on that, and then people start going against each other. And that's why I think what J. Cole did was very, like, I feel like, okay, listen, I messed up and I put myself in a bigger hole. I done, like disrespected the trans community, and like it's just the whole thing, like you just get out of yourself. And so I think that right now, especially being Black, I think that the arguments and stuff happening online, and it just looks messy. It just looks it's not right. And this particular moment, I don't think that any of our favorite artists should be going against each other, or however the case may be. But that's it's unfortunate, but I do like that somebody went out of their way to do something different, and that being J. Cole. And people are not going to receive it well, because, like, they want it to be beef, or they want it to be division. But I think for our community specifically, especially now, that shouldn't be something that is, put out there for us, because we need to, not me sounding like, let's all join together.
Yeah, kumbaya.
Yeah, kumbaya. But it just need to be more representation of that. I just think so. Like, wrap it out and that's fine. But other than that, I don't know.
I just think that this shit to me it's stupid when there's no reason for it. Like to rap about who's the greatest, to me, is ridiculous. Like, can you imagine Celine Dion releasing a song about how much better she is than Madonna? Like, it's just a stupid fucking... I think it's stupid. Now, it's entertaining. And like, Kendrick's verse was fantastic. It's super entertaining. There's a lot of great entertaining tracks, 100%. But you can't, like, J. Cole's not that person anymore anyways. I saw his apology. Like, ever since, was it 2014 Forest Hills Drive? Fantastic fucking album. Ever since then, he's kind of made a turn to be, like, he's somebody else. He's not, a guy that does rap beefs. So for him to come out and like, I think it'd be better off if he said that initially and didn't try to force something out because he had pressure around him to respond. But regardless, he put something out and he felt weird about it, and he replied and apologized for it. I think that was a great thing for him to do. That's him being himself. Like, that's what I want out of these people is to be themselves. If Kendrick being himself is randomly taking shots at other rappers who are, let's be honest, I think he is technically the best rapper. I don't think there's any really debate about Kendrick Lamar and his talent. But if he wants to do that, he can do that. But for other people to put pressure on J. Cole or I don't know, Drake to respond, why? Let Kendrick be Kendrick. We all know he's the best, like, technically. There's no need to respond. It's, to me, it's all
fuck you, Drake. Leftist Mafia says fuck Drake.
Oh,
to me, Drake is a pop artist. Like, Drake is a pop artist. He's not a rap. Like, he's not Kendrick Lamar. He's a pop artist. So to expect Drake to match Kendrick is ridiculous. Like, he's not going to do that.
No,
it's just, I don't know. I
Drake
don't
graduated high
think
school 3 years ago, still comes to homecoming. That's Drake.
Yeah, he is. And and he probably, off of being white and black. Sometimes he's in his whiteness and then sometimes he's in his blackness, maybe about 75% white. But no, so with that being said, I wanted to pivot to, I don't know if you guys heard about, there's a lot of talk about around abortion. I've seen a lot of things. I've heard a lot of people's testimonies, but I know that there was something going on, and if you guys could speak to it.
Wait, Rebecca, before you ask about abortion, could I ask one quick question? Because I was following Ben's tweets. We were just talking about them related to Charlemagne the God.
Okay.
I wanted a clarification on this, because I watched the Daily Show segment that he did where he says basically that DEI is useless.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Okay, so the second half of that video is basically him saying that it doesn't actually give like any material benefits to black folk, and that it's not actually uplifting them in the structure, right? Like, they're not getting to the point of being CEOs and bosses and managers. But the start of it, and I saw a lot of people take like a lot of issue with Charlemagne and what he had said, is the idea that like him framing it that way was kind of like, a negative thing, that he shouldn't have come out of the gates from the start and said that like it's mostly useless. Was that it?
Yeah, both and plus other stuff that he has incrementally been doing. Like Charlemagne is cool until he's not, and then he operates in ways that I really, really aggravate me in terms of blackness. But in terms of his breakdown, I disagree with his second half. Right? There are DEI programs. I know me and Rebecca, we kind of disagree on this part, but there are DEI programs that have been material benefits, right, that have actually has helped structurally, like, whether or not it is able to change the system, that's something totally different. But if you go, group by group, person by person, there's been plenty of people who benefited from a DEI program. But his framing, like, it's not just the blackness of it, but it's also the rhetoric of it. You don't cede someone else's framing. You don't just give them the framing and say, okay, I'm going to buy into your framing and then I'm going to agree with your framing so I can make another point. That's lazy, Charlemagne. Challenge the underlying assumption in it. Anyone who is making this DEI argument is saying that by virtue of you being a minority, you did not and you could not possibly earn what you got. If you don't attack that, then what you doing, Charlemagne? That's all.
You done woke Ben up, and here Ben, with the DEI thing though, but for his comments, Charlemagne's comments, because he has such a big audience. So this is where a lot of our Black audience, people who they'll go there and they trust Charlemagne's talking point. So for him to go on there and discredit or have this type of conversation, it hurts more than it helps, because I feel like too he keeps it very surface. I don't feel like he goes in to try to get more information on it or however. And the people he even brings on, I don't think there's no, like, for these type of conversations, there's no pushback, there's no research. And mind you, I know that Charlemagne can do it. I've seen him show up in that way many a time, seen his interviews. But I think lately what we've been seeing, especially when it comes to major Black issues or major Black topics like DEI, and we know what the right has done with it, what conservatives have done with it. So to have just that kind of talking point on it, again, it doesn't help. It hurts. So Ben says, that there are other things that Charlemagne has done. And that way, I know that Charlemagne has also been somebody at the forefront of a lot of great conversations and held those conversations conversations and has held people's feet to the fire when having those conversations. I mean, this is a product of Wendy Williams we're talking about. So, but and he's had a show where he's had conversations with political leaders. So I don't know why now they're going this route, but it just seems to be, you know, a little, you know, I gotta side eye it, you know, for just and I get it, Ben. I get why you feel the way that you feel about Charlemagne, and I know you know.
Well, no, I mean, I generally like him. I generally just on average, he's fine, well enough. His donkey of the days are pretty good.
Like, he don't do them like that no more.
Yeah, but it's just, if you have the platform and the voice and the opportunity, why would the very first thing you do would be to seed a faulty and fallacious argument, framing? Why would you give that to Republicans? No, attack them. You're on the Daily Show. 10 million people are going to see you. Attack their premise. Don't give it to them and say, oh yes, DEI is bad or whatever. No, you are a racist if your underlying assumption is that anyone who is a minority got what they got because they are diverse and inclusive. No. Anyway.
And DEI, as I said, you know, I don't really like it too much because I feel like it's that one black person in the office that holds the whole dang. They'll literally be like, hey, you. Okay, you're a black person. I mean, we have a new section that we want you to head, and then they get there, they think they got a team. It's them and one other person, and they're holding down this whole thing on their own. But the company will say, we are proud of our blacks, and so you know we can see the whites in their eyes, and you know our black people, we're diverse here, and it's like, yeah, you gave this you know these black people so much on their shoulders to carry, instead of hiring more black people, because that would be DEI, right? And giving them opportunities here and holding it down that way. But no, that ain't how they doing it. So that's how I feel about DEI.
Rebecca, listen, you reminded me of okay, so I used to work in the tech industry years ago when I lived in Boston, and we were at our annual, you know, meeting, and the CEO got up there. We had about at least 10,000 people in there. He said, look to your left, look to your right. Not very diverse, is it? and everybody
we're all trying to find out who did this.
Only black person on the left side of the entire team. And of course, but we were on the cutting edge of diversity and inclusion. This was at least a decade ago, and there I was, the only black person in the entire half hemisphere of the meeting.
Yeah, DEI gave us, and which was great at the time, but this is what DEI does, right? And I'm going to give you an example. DEI gave us Black Twitter in 2020. Black Twitter popping. They had their own section, you know, in the office. You know, all of the things, right? They started hyping up black people, and then we saw with Netflix. Oh, we had a section, baby. Black movies was coming out. They were pushing out, you know, lots of black creators. You know, that was a thing. Black voices. That's what, you know, we started seeing that as soon as, you know, all of that died down, just like maybe a few months ago, a year ago, baby. They was doing the watermelons, remember, at the candles, the watermelons and stuff. DEI. I don't know who was in the room with that. One black person, because that's what happens when you got one black person. DEI, but all those things. But this is what DEI is. All of the sudden, we seen all of the layoffs for those for those black sections in these big companies and these big names. Netflix dropped that whole Black Voices section, or where they had the people who were focusing on black content there. Those people that they just went away with that.
And then section no more.
And then what? The creators at Target, now they're just, it's not the same as it was a few years ago. Now it's curated, and people, it's just kind of like, we're gonna choose these 3 people each time now for the Target. You know, February month, Black History Month, because for me, Black History is every single day. But you know, and we seen with Twitter when the takeover with Elon Musk, he did away with all that stuff. But he wasn't the only one. I know people were upset about that, but other companies were doing the same exact thing. No longer did we need to have this. We see how Ron DeSantis is doing with anything that has to do with blackness at white schools. Let's take it away, because we don't need that. He's saying that promotes division, right? Switching it up. right? When it's supposed to be equality, it's supposed to be inclusion. And now he's saying, this is what DEI is. They don't take it serious. And that's what I'm like, the rollback of what it was, right? That now they rolled it back. We don't need it anymore. Because, we had the 3 years where we gave people blackness. We don't need that anymore. We don't need that anymore. The person that sued Starbucks, because remember, they were like the first ones to roll out with shutting down and having that diversity and inclusion meeting, the sensitivity meeting about how you need to treat Black people when they come in and get their coffees or whatever the case may be, or how those people need to treat our baristas, Black, like stuff like that, having those conversations. That man, a few years later, he got money. It's like there's this rollbacks. People don't think about it anymore. It's like DEI isn't important. So now DEI has become, the conservatives have taken it, and now it's become equivalent to the hard ER. So
CRT woke.
Yeah.
It's all the same.
Yep. So that's my take on that's why I don't like it. That's why I never did, because it never was serious to people. It just was something for them to do to say, our Blacks. Okay, we go hand in hand. We too have Black employees, and we treat them great. We put them in a specific department, and they're thriving here. Our one Black, right? That's exactly what it's just always been.
It's so you're saying, Rebecca, it's the corporate equivalent of, we can't be racist. We have a Black friend or a Black person right here. See, we employ Black people. Person.
That's exactly what it is.
Oh man,
I have Black friends.
Yeah,
I'll never forget this PhD program. I guess that I was a part of, and they were taking photographs. And they came all the way around campus to come find my Black ass because they can have a diversity and inclusion on the whole screen of the University.
Did they do the Trump thing? Remember that Trump rally where he's like, "There's my Black."
African American. He's like, look at my African American over there.
I
never heard it sound like a slur before.
I can only see the Black. And it's like, sir. Like, this is what I'm talking about. Ben, we were DEI hires when at that one place. We were DEI hires, like, to the point where they were so infatuated with me and the hair of choice that month and my nails, and they were like, we just need somebody like you. The way they were staring at me is just incredible.
Oh my God.
That I will never forget it. In the interview, they were just staring at me and they were like, your nails, your hair. Your skin. And then when we got there, they were like, we need our Blacks at the forefront. And we ended up taking over it. We had white anchors there, and they left, and the Black people was the one holding down that whole thing. So, and when we got too Black, and we started saying, you know what, let's do 2 Trump stories today, but let's talk about what the police are doing to Black people today. And they were like, oh, a little bit too much of that. It's getting a little Black.
Oh my God.
It's getting a little Black. Then we talked about Black Panther, which did numbers for that company. With that, we millions of views, and they were like, you need to stop right now. So literally that place that dissolved because we were DEI hires, and
the story evolved just a little each time she tells it, but it's essentially what she said is essentially yes. But it's actually worse, Rebecca. You forgot the best part. They literally came to us and said it's giving BET.
Yeah.
They said that
it's giving BET. They said that.
What?
In a meeting, they pulled us to the side because they were so upset that, first of all, they weren't showing up. Benjamin took the reins and was like, hey, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. So the show, like it or not, give Ben his props. He ain't put me on the marquee at that time, but now I am.
Now your name on the marquee.
Yeah, the show was mine. But then, I wasn't on the marquee or whatever, but Ben did create this. Ben created it and, did what he needed to do because they left it in our hands and they were just like, yeah, whatever. And we did take it somewhere. We got a great audience. We grew it. But
so they shut it down during Black History Month.
Yeah, during Black History Month.
During Black History.
They had a meeting with us and they came out of nowhere and they said, specifically to me, hey, some of our, stakeholders were saying, Rebecca, they watched you on mute and they said that you gave BET. And Ben was like, hold up now. Now you said she gave BET. Excuse me. Ben stepped in for me at that moment, but I was like,
Al Sharpton real quick.
He did.
The problem.
But they definitely say I said, but did they click me off of mute? Did you, as my boss who hired me on, what did you say on my behalf? No, she didn't say anything. First of all, she called herself Olive at the time. She is a person of color, but at that she moved in whiteness. She moved in whiteness, and I'm like, so for you to be an ally and you hired me on because of what I look like, what did you say for me in that room? And here we go, DEI hires. These people are not gonna hold it down for you in the room when other people are talking about you. They're not gonna hold it down. They know your skills. They know you're qualified. They know why you're here. You hired me because I'm a journalist. You hired me, because I'm Black. But when people are speaking about me, and as my boss, as you know what my qualifications are, you know I'm experienced for this, but you sat there in the room and you allowed these people to say what they thought of me by just watching me on. And she specifically said they watched me on mute. They didn't watch
that
the
is
segment.
So unhinged.
Yeah,
it really is.
Jesus.
And they were progressives.
Allegedly.
They're the progressives in Get Out.
Yeah,
said he'd vote for Obama 3 times if he could.
Ding, that's it. Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah. But that was it. And here we are today, with no longer DEI for us and by us. And, that's just kind of how the cookie crumbled. Here's what it shows, though. They feel like they have the reins, and a lot of these companies do the same thing because they do. They have the money, they have the resources. Everything comes a little bit easier to them in their whiteness and, in their companies. And so these Black people think that, and Issa Rae can attest to this because she's dealing with this as we speak. If you guys know Issa Rae, she made what the hell the show Insecure, okay, and all them other shows. But she talks about this too. But these people will get you in on there because right now Black is popping, your content is popping. You bring them, what people are looking for right now, the sensitivity with Black people, and then all of a sudden they don't need you anymore. That's what happened with Issa Rae. She said, a lot of my shows are being canceled at HBO, at all these places, because they don't value Black people and their stories or their content. So when they're done with you as a DEI hire, they just send you away. So she's like, now I'm focusing on doing it for us and by us. And in that time, when we're doing it like that, it doesn't get as much press, it doesn't get as much push, but we have to be able to sacrifice and hold it down that way with lower numbers or whatever, by still just holding it down by giving Black news. Because again, in media, us telling our stories has always been limited. So we gotta be the ones to be at the forefront of it. And regardless of if we got 2 viewers, or 2,000 viewers, or 2 million viewers, we're just gonna still have to keep holding it down in that way on our own. So yeah, that's my.
They want the credit for being progressive and having these diverse hiring practices, but they just want you there. They don't want to hear about Black stories. They don't want actual substantive representation. They want descriptive representation, and that's really what a lot of it was about. With Google, for example, and Meta as well. They announced their DEI programs during the George Floyd protests, so they're trying to basically capitalize on that, elevate themselves, use it for good PR, and then a couple of years later. When people stopped talking about that because, Republicans had co-opted any messaging around that, started talking about CRT and whatnot, then they just quietly shut down those programs or scale them back significantly because we're done. We don't need the PR from that. Let's move on to the next thing or whatever it is. It's just so disingenuous.
Because they don't actually care. It comes from a place of them just not wanting to be called racist, more so than it comes from a place of them actually wanting to do something. For them actually wanting to bring about some sort of change and make things more inclusive and share diverse voices. And
it's the same with every form of watching, right? Rainbow watching is the exact same thing. You don't actually care about queer folk. You just want to sell flags,
That's it. Shirts and stuff.
It's they could have a gay person as a friend in a movie, but if you actually depict a romantic relationship, there's whoa, that's too much gayness. The audience doesn't want to see that.
Kiss in a Disney movie. Come on.
It's all surface level. Just they want to pat themselves on the back. We're progressives. We include everyone, but then shut the fuck up once you're here.
Yeah.
Brandy is, as we know, she was the Black Cinderella, the one that I know, the one that
with Whitney Houston, right?
I
Is that the same
recognize,
movie?
Okay, but yeah, the Cinderella. When I say
remember
Cinderella,
that as a kid.
when I say Cinderella, I'm talking about Brandy. I don't know nobody else. I know there
You
was
don't know
somebody in
no
the blue dress
Cinderella,
before
huh?
that, but I'm talking about Brandy. And so there's a show, and I forget the show, and I'm pretty sure you guys know it, but they're bringing her back on. They're gonna make like a movie on Disney Plus, and she's coming back on as Cinderella, right? And so I went to the comment section, and you know where I was? I was on the Book of Face. I was on Facebook, and so the people were having conversations in the comment section, and they were like, I just for some reason knew she was gonna be Black. Somebody was like, in the 90s, bro, this was Cinderella. This is the same Cinderella, and they're just bringing her back because she's a Disney princess. This Cinderella, and they like was a Disney princess, and it was such a big deal. So they're bringing her back, you know, for this live action film because it makes sense. So there were so many like white people like so upset. I just knew they were going to try to make it Black like they do while adding gay scenes to television shows. They wanted to add some Black to the original Cinderella. They just were so upset about it. And like
it's the
I'm
same
just like
outrage over and over. They were doing the same thing for Little Mermaid. I had to point out the Little Mermaid like has canonically in other portrayals, including TV musicals, been non-white in multiple different portrayals. There's been different Little Mermaids, even in the cartoon. You know, plus they're mermaids. They're not real. They could be anyone. Like, what are we doing here?
And that version of Cinderella was so good that I was young and I did not realize. Now, the prince is Asian, his daddy white, his mama Black with dreads. You know, Brandy Black, her stepmama white. That can happen. Stepmama got the Black baby. Okay, fully 100% Black, and then a redhead baby. Like I don't know, it was just crazy, you know, and just different sizes, different skin colors. But it was so good that I just wanted Brandy to go get the prince. You know, I didn't care. I didn't know. We didn't focus on that. So I think that was what people should focus on. You know, they had like kind of gay characters in it. They had, you know, the whole color thing. Like we weren't focused. They had everybody from every walk of life in that movie. So that to me was a great movie for us. And people over there mad. Like, where have you been under a rock? Cinderella was Black. Cinderella was Black. Her man was Asian. You know, it was a very mixed movie in that way. And I just don't know why they, you know, people they're going to bring outrage about it again. And just like they did, like you said, with Little Mermaid and whoever else they're bringing
now. That new Romeo and Juliet Shakespeare play. I'm losing their mind.
Oh yeah.
So I need to go look at that because that's my first time hearing about that. Oh, they're colorizing Romeo and Juliet. Okay.
They're going crazy over that one, but the thing about that one is it's just the West End play in London. It's not even the movie. It's for the live theater version, which that happens all the time in live theater. It shows how little they know about live theater. Like it's even more common to just cast whomever for a specific role, regardless of what the race of the character is, in live theater than it is in like film and TV. And then second of all, I can't think of a better sort of representation of Romeo and Juliet than actually having one of the either Romeo or Juliet being white or either Romeo and Juliet or being the other one being Black. Like it makes perfect sense for that particular story, especially. How ridiculous is it to have a problem with something that is a historical commonality in the theater, and then B makes complete sense for this classic story.
Well, they always change like the goalpost, right? Like a couple of weeks ago, they were saying it was DEI, but now that by that, we all know that they just mean the N-word. Now they switched it to no, we're not mad because she's Black. We're mad because she's not attractive enough. It's like, oh, okay. But you have the same conversation about any character who's Black or any character who doesn't like fit into the box.
And I don't like white people saying that about Black people anyway. You don't get to say, like, first of all, you're racist and you're saying she's not attractive enough or this person isn't attractive enough.
Which is so disgusting.
They're Black because they're Black, and that's the issue. So you're really just saying that person's a ER.
It's a new synonym for the same racist argument. Yeah, but they think that they're being clever. They literally think, oh, I have plausible deniability. No, it's the same thing you've been saying now forever. You could switch it to DEI or CRT or a different acronym.
Honestly, to use their own shit against them, I can't think of anything more beta than being judgmental of women like that. As a true alpha, I love all women. I don't care. I mean, it's so ridiculous. They are so ridiculous, and it's so clear that it's more obvious than ever. It's just purely driven by racism. Like, we always knew as people in this space, like, it's nothing new, but like, I feel like they don't even care about putting on like the show for like the normies anymore. They're just openly like being like, fuck it, they're black. I hate this movie because they're black. Like,
I appreciate the racist of old now. I used to be, you look back and think of, Bull Connor or Barry Goldwater and like, but see, you look at Barry Goldwater and like, he was a racist who put a lot of time and thought into his racism. They're not even creative anymore. They just throw anything at it and see what sticks.
That's true.
The laziest racism imaginable. No thought. I saw it's not just happening like in the movie industry, it's happening within games as well. Like, there's a lot of heat around the Spider-Man 2 video game that came out last year because Miles Morales, of course, he's a black Latino Spider-Man, but then his girlfriend is in the game as well. And there's a mission with her, and she's deaf as well. So I thought it was a really cool mission because they depict it as if like, from her perspective, where there's not sound there, and you're helping another person with an art project. And like, no, we don't like that mission because it was boring, not because you were playing as a black woman. And there's another mission with Miles Morales where he's helping this high school guy try to fix up. I don't know what it was like. Turn the projector on or something.
Yeah, he was helping.
Yeah, he was helping him ask his boyfriend to homecoming, and they're like, nope, that was forced. See, they shoehorned in the gayness there. If it was, and it's just like there's always some bullshit excuse for your thinly veiled bigotry.
A lot of this stuff, I think, is driven by algorithms. It's like you have one YouTuber, one or two YouTubers, like this is an easy way to get clicks, and then their focus on that generates other dipshits to be on Twitter or wherever and feed into it. And it doesn't help the fact that Twitter's a fucking cesspool that is not moderated at all. YouTube is moderated, but when it comes to like, it has to be overt and like, you have to be like, wearing a fucking swastika on YouTube to be taken off there. Otherwise, you're going to be okay. Like
on Twitter, you get promoted.
So they're not going to moderate your they're not going to moderate your criticisms of Spider-Man 2, which are just overtly racist or bigoted, because it isn't as overt as it needs to be for them to moderate it.
Yeah. So see, they come on the show and they embarrass me, and I'm so sorry about this, y'all. For Benjamin Dixon and DJ X3C, they gotta go. Ben tired. He on here sleeping, and then DJ.
You guys can go whenever you want. Sorry, don't feel like you're trapped here.
They're not held.
No, Rebecca trapped me. I was almost gone 30 minutes.
I was like, you made it to the end. There's like literally 10 minutes left in the show.
And DJ X3C saying he gotta go because they frying chicken, and I just can't.
Oh, I'm jealous.
I just can't do that.
No, I'm jealous.
Go, y'all leave.
I'm here frying the good chicken.
And say goodbye to people.
Goodbye, y'all. And real quick, I did want to bring up the same outrage that they're doing is also the same thing that they're doing with Jolene, Beyonce's version of Jolene.
Oh yeah,
which is she changed the words to that, and is an amazing song. Ask Dolly Parton.
She changed the words to it, but gave all writing credits. Okay,
to Dolly Parton.
To Dolly Parton, and just to make it easier, I feel like just because they knew, like whatever, but. They're still having an issue with it. The CMT still kind of made her feel left out, even though they, I guess, let her be on stage, I think awarded her with something, whatever. But the radio stations are still having a problem with her. She did this, and when she said this is not a country album, I understand what she means by that now. She put country artists on there who do not get the recognition that they need, black country artists on there, because she knows that if she would have did this, she like this would help these people out, because they said that she can't do country, but there are artists that do country who are black. And if we take it even back, who really created country? We could really go there, but we're not. So, but this is why there was a reason why, but people are mad about it. There is an outrage about it because now they're claiming boots. Black people can't wear boots now. They're claiming boots. They're claiming cowboy hats. They're claiming like, oh, that is.
Like, this is cultural appropriation.
How are they wearing boots and how are they wearing hats? And there were never any black cowboys. They were like, are we serious right now? Like, they're upset about that, and so it's this selective outrage. And it's when black people do it, it is problematic. And so, you're right about that. You're right about that for sure. Y'all can go now because y'all just
Yeah,
came in
I
very
feel bad.
quickly.
We're keeping you guys here.
Yeah, look, you know,
I want to stay, but I mean, like,
they know what it is.
I'm like, Jesus,
I
did they
feel,
give me
I
fried
feel
chicken
bad
in here?
because
It's
I've
not
been
me.
yawning, and I hate when I'm on somebody's show and it gets
No,
late.
I know. I yawn. I'm tired on the show from the start, so don't worry about it.
Oh, okay. I always I'm over here like, and I'm trying to like.
And then I'm just like, Chubb, do they hear the chicken frying in here? I'm like, Lord Jesus.
That's really black of you, and I didn't need you to bring that here. Get out
they
of here.
were,
I love
they
y'all.
were waiting for me to finish the show, and I'm just like, y'all, just hold on a second before you fry the chicken, and then it's okay.
That's crazy.
Hey, thank y'all for having me, though. I greatly appreciate.
Yeah,
y'all.
thanks for coming on.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, definitely. I'll be back soon. Okay.
Absolutely.
No, you will not.
Absolutely.
Not.
Damn,
Yes, we will.
Rebecca's
Bye, Bubba. We will see you.
Hi, y'all. Love y'all.
Look, okay, no home training. Can't have no. Get out of here so I can talk about you. Well, no, but love and mean it. But you see, y'all wanted them on here, and here they go. But no, absolutely, love
They were
being
great.
on.
I had a great
I know.
time with them.
Good. I'm happy you did. Look, I love that again. My crew are joining in together, and I love it. I love it.
Merging the worlds together.
Yeah, I love it. I love it so much, and I'm in both worlds, so that's good. I love it so much. So, but now I
feel like we're like, you know, when your parents are divorced, not that I can relate to this, but then they start like dating and you're meeting like the two different step parents. Like we're the parents meeting our Rebecca or what? Wait, I just fucked up the analogy. But you know what I'm saying? Fill it in. Like we're like meeting like, oh, you love our daughter, we love your daughter. So
no, that's what it is.
I definitely did not at all think like that at all.
That's crazy.
Divorce did not come to my mind.
I think it gives more. It got crazy. It got crazy, Mike. But I think it gives more like when you have your favorite TV show, and then they bring in your other favorite TV show, and then they like are in the same one episode. And it's just giving the vibes. That's what it gives.
It's like that, that Ninja Turtles crossover with like other shows from the 90s that I can't remember. So I don't know why I brought up the analogy.
You talking about divorce and stuff? Why? Why do you gotta make it?
You know, I'm actually the one.
Every story's got to be tragic.
I know.
Yeah, you see my mental space that I'm in. It's like, no, it's the first time meeting your kids with the custody battle. You come together.
Oh my god, it's so much, so much trauma.
Oh my!
I don't know why it's so specific for me.
No, I know that's a little specific. You talking to somebody, Mike? Look.
No.
You have to talk to somebody, baby. Yeah. You might have to talk to somebody. But I know that before I was gonna mention abortion, and only because I know it's trending right now, but because what they're trying
abortion
to do
is trending.
Yeah, right. Abortion is trending. When is it not? But you know, of course, because it's something crazy. I know about the law that they were trying to repeal, or whatever it was that they were trying to discuss. But it criminalizes abortion basically for pregnancy unless the woman's life is at risk. And so what I've been seeing online is a lot of women sharing their stories. One woman was speaking about she was having, I think she had to have a D&C or something like that, and they wouldn't allow her to. So she then had to basically risk her life and go in, I think, and have a cesarean or something, still give birth to this baby that was no longer alive. And so, and now it caused her health issues, long-term health issues, as you know, for them to try again and things like that, because she wasn't able to get the help that she needed.
That's the Texas woman, right, Rebecca?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And I've seen more testimonies of people underneath the comment section and things of that sort. And I couldn't imagine being in that position, you wanting a family, but right now, you know, this pregnancy, you can't go through with it, right? Medically, you're not, it's hurting your body. So, you know, the baby is not going to make it, but they're going to criminalize you if you go and get this abortion. So now she had to do that, and she has long-term health issues because of it, because they wanted to. I know this is like Arizona Republicans and the legislation there that they were trying to push, but I don't know too much about it. So I wanted to know if you guys had any more insight on it, my camera. But while I get that together, I didn't know if you guys have any more insight on it.
We talked about it earlier.
We
talked about it earlier.
Before you came on. But essentially, as Binder was saying, it's apparently they used a precedent of a law from like 1866 or something to justify the entire ordeal. But yeah, I mean, it's older than 1866 in my eyes. It feels
1864. It was 1864.
1864. Yeah, but it feels again medieval. If we're going to go to a system where like women are going to die, that's what's going to happen. That's the end result of these policies: is that women die, babies die. It's horrifying, and doctors become criminals overnight.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the woman's story that Rebecca's talking about. This is actually an ad that Biden released, and I have my criticisms of Biden, but this is a really good ad.
Okay.
This is one of our willow boxes. This is just filled with some of the things that we had started gathering for her while I was pregnant.
Yep.
There's her little baby book.
Oh man.
This is the outfit that she was gonna maybe wear home from the hospital. All of these. This is the blanket that she was in.
Jesus.
And these are her little footprints.
Wow.
It's okay.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
That broke my heart into all the little pieces. Like I seen they were speaking about it and they were sharing her testimony, and other people were too. But watching that, and of course, I know that was for Joe Biden to push his campaign, but that is like a strong case though. She's not the only one that probably had to deal with something like that. But imagine being pregnant, miscarrying, not being able, because they would criminalize you to go and get a DNC or whatever you needed in that moment. And to have that baby taken out properly to save your life. And they want to criminalize you for that. But then you ended up getting sepsis. And now, the implications from that, long-term health issues. You want your baby, you want a baby, you want a family, and you may possibly never be able to do that because of something like this, a law like this that's put in place that criminalizes you for something that you can't control. And you were looking for health care for it.
Right. We should say, because in case one of us or, we ever upload this episode as a podcast, we should say that in between those, the family talking was text on the screen that basically said that the doctors couldn't do anything for her because of Trump, the repeal of Roe v. Wade, that she almost died of sepsis twice after she was rushed to the hospital. The damage that was done may result in her never being able to get pregnant again. And then the final, text on the screen said Trump did this. I think it's important to say that for people who might be listening to just the audio, because if you're just hearing this family cry and then Joe Biden come in at the end saying, I support this message, it came off a bit weird. Yeah. It's important to see the visuals and the text on screen. Yes.
And these stories are important because I think that so many Republicans, they had this weird caricature of women who get abortions in their head where it's like, oh, you know what? I'm 8 months pregnant. I changed my mind. Or I had the baby. You know what? Throw it in the garbage. Like they literally think that Trump just said that. And so they don't understand that first and foremost, most abortions occur at the very, very, very beginning stage. But when they're later on, oftentimes it's because they if you realize that there is a 0% chance of survival for your baby and you're given the option of carrying it to term and pushing out a baby that will live for an hour and then die quickly, or not having to have your heart broken like that, you should be able to make that choice, right? And people think that it's not that complicated. They think it's just very black and white, where it's okay, this is murder or not murder. And so that's why you even saw a lot of stories I think within the first year of Roe, where people who were previously pro-life came out and said, oh, wow, I didn't realize that this would affect me because I had a miscarriage and now my doctor doesn't feel confident giving me the procedure that I need because it's the identical procedure that they give for people who want abortions, and I'm not sick enough yet. So I have to come back when I'm sick. And so it's a wake-up call to a lot of people, which is why I think it's radicalized so many normies, because they never thought of it that deeply. A lot of people just took abortion for granted because we've had it for, since 1970 when Roe v. Wade was decided at the Supreme Court. And so it was easy to be pro-life when you've never thought about these actual individual stories. But the fact that these stories are so common and they are in everyone's face, like, I think it's going to have a huge impact, you know, on the election.
I mean, it already is. It already is
Right.
having a huge impact. Every single
Yeah.
place where this has been on the ballot,
Yeah.
Democrats, you know, the adjacent Democratic races, the Democrats won in places where even, like, you know, Republicans could usually would win.
Kansas.
This has been
Yeah.
This has been a winning issue for
Mhm.
Democrats, and I don't mean to like take this and turn it into electoral politics, but I mean, the fact that it happened is due to
Yeah.
electoral politics.
Right.
But like the Republicans are running on a losing issue, and like I mentioned earlier, some of them know it and are trying to run from it now. Like, you know, just a couple months ago they're going, "We did this," and now when this happens and people like us say, "You did this," they go, "No, no," after they were going, "We did this." You know, but this is an issue that they will never win, and this can be, honestly, this could be the issue that, you know, if they continue to run on being, you know, pro-life like this, or anti-abortion, I should say.
Yeah.
Then that's the issue that's going to further ostracize them. That's it for Republicans if they're going to keep going with this. And there's all signs show they are, even after, you know, even though they're out there saying, like Donald Trump and Carrie Lake are out there saying, "Oh, we don't support this law." They really do. I mean, everything they've done up to this moment supports that law.
Supports that law, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that was probably the most effective Democratic ad I've seen. Like, that was very effective.
Yeah.
There was no bullshit. It was just
Yeah,
a
it was
straight up message
honesty.
from
Yeah.
from people that were affected by this, and
Yeah.
that was, if they keep putting out ads like that, and enough people see that's going to have an effect.
Yeah. And I think her story, and again, from her story, I've read so many other people's stories related to it. And again, I benefited from, in my own life, where I was able to, and regardless of my beliefs, my parents' beliefs, or whatever the case may be, in a moment in time, I benefited from being able to have access to get an abortion. And so, like, you know, hearing other people's stories, and I know people who, if they couldn't get access to, you know, getting an abortion or however, there's the black market clinics, you know, where they're putting their lives at risk to go and do this because they either know that they can't have the baby. I know somebody who kept getting pregnant, but it was not working out for her. She couldn't carry a baby to term and was told by doctors she could not carry a baby to term. And so she just chose, like, okay, this is not going to be something I want to do. She ended up getting pregnant. She was married. But they denied her. She had to go to another state. She had to literally take off work, pick up, go to another state so that she can handle this, because she knew she didn't want to go through that again. The mental stress, she went through so many miscarriages. And so at that point, her and her partner decided they just weren't going to do it anymore. And so she just went off somewhere. She had to go to another state, pay for a hotel, all these type of things just so that she can get the proper care. But I also know people who had to go elsewhere to who knows what pill they're being given, but they had to trust that this was the pill that they needed by somebody else having access to it. And in the black market clinics for this, they were getting these pills and just trusting that this was going to be something that was an abortion pill or whatever. But this is what happens. People are desperate, or people need this type of healthcare, and they're taking it away because they're choosing, you know, they're saying they're making it equivalent to you murdering a baby. And meanwhile, what's happening in Palestine? They ain't worried about them kids. They ain't worried about them kids. Then a whole bunch of people who have abortions or who have access to it are usually, you know, women who are in church or have cheated or whatever. They get free access to this stuff. People's mistresses, you know, some of your favorite Republicans and them, they get to give them the access to these abortions or whatever. But people who actually need them for whatever reason, for health reasons, like this one woman who is not the only woman. She's not the only story. There are so many people like that. But this law limits people from getting the health care that they need. Now she has to suffer with long-term health issues for a family that she wants. If she would have gotten the healthcare that she needed in that time, she probably would have a family today.
Wow. That's based on what you were just talking about. Did all of you hear what happened to Fresh and Fit? Fresh and Fit.
Oh no, I heard that something happened, but I don't know what happened. What happened?
It's exactly what you're just mentioning. Fresh from Fresh and Fit ended up impregnating a sex worker, and the sex worker was DMing him, and we know now because she leaked all the DMs, and they've since admitted that this is all real. After impregnating the sex worker, she was like, "I want to have the baby, but blah, blah, I don't want to have an abortion." He's like, "No, I don't want to be a father. You have to have the abortion." Blah blah blah. When like on their show, the Fresh and Fit podcast, it's all about men got to take personal responsibility, all this kind of shit, you know, all that kind of stuff. Like,
Well, of course they're full of shit. Of course.
Not when it happens to you.
Of course.
When was it the guy Myron who was like nearly teary-eyed, like going on a rant,
Oh,
like
it was
I
amazing.
support him no matter what? Like,
Yeah.
okay, so you're just all hypocrites. Shut up.
Those are the people though that will sit up there and say like Republicans do. They're like, I support life. Meanwhile, they got like 10 abortions in the bag already for whoever, or the women who are quietly having them. This is sometimes a situation of, hey, you guys are thinking that this is, we just are popping abortion pills. I don't care what, social media, culture, logistics, or whatever they do want to have those conversations. That's just a small portion of what people are in predicaments where they don't have access to it much. So they know if I have this child's going to come into a system. I can't give for them. I can't provide for them. This is going to, I don't want to put them in a system. They think about those things. So they know right now in the early stages, I'm going to go ahead and terminate my pregnancy. Rape happens, right? And now those are things that people are not considering. But there's life in this body. There's life in this person. It could be a underaged young girl who's carrying a child because of rape. And they're just like, but this is God's will for their life. But there's an option to give this person a life. Let this child be a child. But now here we are. But they don't see that. But for them, they can quietly and go make sure they take care of those things, but then and present themselves as something different and opposite. So I don't like it. I think, again, people can have their take on abortion, whatever. I once had my take on abortion as well, but then life hit me. And so, just knowing we need to be able to have that choice for whatever reason. But I think for health reasons, man, that shouldn't even be something that you take away. This woman's body was at risk. She could have died. And now she can't even have the life that she wants because of that. Possibly never being able to have a child. Look, she really wanted it. They were set up. They were doing all this stuff. And, she doesn't get a chance to really try again, with some kind of security because of this happening. The fact that this was preventative,
it's an unnecessary tragedy.
You see what I'm saying? It was just because a whole bunch of white men said women's bodies, we need to control it, and you can't. Abortion is not God. Is not godly. Yeah, I love the Lord, and abortion worked out for me. So
yeah, you know what?
It's also in the Bible.
Yeah,
that's true. I don't think that these politicians in particular even believe the shit that they say. I think that to the extent they want to criminalize abortion, it's just because they want to control women. That's what this is about. If I said this earlier, I'll say it again because I think it's an important point. If they really thought abortion was murder, they would treat it that way, right? They wouldn't make exceptions for their mistresses. They wouldn't make exceptions for states. I believe in states' rights, so some states can allow this murder to continue. You wouldn't treat it that way. You don't actually believe it's murder. You wouldn't be protesting outside of a clinic where they're doing murders. You would storm the clinic, right? It's also disingenuous.
Well, some people do.
Some of them do, but I mean, for the most part,
yes.
right?
It's the same thing with if you cared about child's rights, you would care about the second they were born and provide for the families and the mothers and all that kind of shit, right?
They do that. They do that, right? We'll take care of you while you're pregnant. Are you guys doing that for real? Are you providing these mothers with the healthcare that they need? Are you doing? Because right after that baby,
they want to cut WIC.
It's like, yeah,
they want to cut food stamps.
After that, they're like, yeah, you're on your own. We'll provide you with the resources. After that baby comes out, these babies are on their own. Some of them are put into systems. Some of them, it's ridiculous. Some of them are born with defects. It's so many different things, and they're not thinking about that. It becomes expensive for a poor mom to have to take care. Just think about that. They don't, and America will have this whole idea, oh, we care about the kids, America love the kids. And then all of a sudden kids come out and there's like so much that all these kids that they were saying you must have, will support you through your pregnancy. Then babies come out, ain't no help. There's nothing. There's nothing.
It blew my mind like 2 years ago to find out that you have to pay to give birth in the U.S. and the average is $7,000 to $12,000.
Very expensive.
Yeah, because in Canada you don't pay out of pocket for your birth, right?
Don't rub that in our faces.
Well, I'm not doing the flex. I'm doing that because I was like, but that's insane to me how you can actually expect people to go bankrupt and yet constantly talk about how pro-life you are and how much the sanctity of birth and all this kind of stuff. It's going to cost you $10,000 though. Like if you only have like $400 in your bank account, how do you do it? What do? Do you just give birth at home? Do you just you just say, fuck it? Do you like, again?
No, basically, you'll be able to do it. So many parents literally use what they can, like do what they need. I know my mama was sick and tired of getting pregnant. That lady been pregnant since she was 17. She just pregnant every day, right? Fertile, right? So with her being a migrant here, her not having she worked at a hot dog stand when she first got here, and I saw the stresses of having like 4 kids in the house that were all we were all around the same age, but her trying to do all of that was a struggle with my dad trying to make sure he holds down a job. So they don't make it easy for you anyway. Like you already got to do 6 jobs. We had to be home. And this is back in the day. So it was my sister, who was maybe 4 years older than me, locked the door while we have to make this money to make sure that you guys can eat or whatever, when we were younger. And it took years for us to really see, something really take place in our lives when it came, until I was like 15 or something. But I know a friend of mine who was in the system. She came here to visit her family. Same thing. It was locked the door. They didn't have money to put the baby in a babysitter or whatever the case may be. And if we were at babysitters, they were babysitting us illegally. Right. So she went to the door and there was a caseworker. The neighbors told, and there was a caseworker, and my friend who was from Haiti didn't speak English at the time. The system took her. So her family was in Haiti. She lost contact with her family in Haiti because the system took her. And she's been in the system ever since in her whole entire life. She doesn't know her real last name. They changed it, first of all. And then she didn't have a real social security. They changed her. They did this overnight. They changed her birth date and everything. And she became a part of the system. So they don't take care of kids. They just throw you in a system or whatever the case may be. America does not care about children. They want to act like they do. They don't care about people being parents for real. They want to act like they do. They will help you up until when that baby comes out, you're on your own. And then with kids, we're going to throw them into whatever system, knowing that these foster care people, they sometimes they create trauma for these children, and they're just getting a check. And so it's like we're not really curating spaces for these kids to really go into somewhere where it's actually a fitting family. They're not going to do none of that work. It's just, this is a Haitian kid. Like, we took her away from her family. They don't give a damn. They don't care. America does not truly care about what the things that they care about. And one thing is about children. They do not care. I don't see that. They don't care about children, because if they did, programs like WIC or whatever wouldn't be up for people. Like, I think expires at a certain age. And it's like, okay, did something change for the parent? Are we checking in or whatever the case? No. As soon as the baby turns a certain age, WIC is over. You're on your own. You're on your own. You can't get the benefits anymore. It's just that type of, that's what it is. So
yeah, it's a barbaric, ruthless system. It's shitty.
Yeah.
Well,
happy way to end the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
super happy episode.
I know, right? Sorry, y'all. Look, my bad. It came on. I tried to keep it cute.
I started Doomer too earlier. We talked about like Sotomayor retiring and stuff.
That's
and
true. That was right out of the gates. That was the opening.
Yeah. So we started Doomer. So
okay, I'm sorry about that. Well,
but you know what?
No, don't
maybe
apologize.
the super chats will be happier. Should
and because you're gonna have to read them because David's gone. His baby was crying. So look, everybody, it's just a night for the kids to just start acting up. People tired, kicking, crying. I have a bird. My sister's bird It's in the cage behind me. I got it covered up because he's
cute.
a little fussy. Yeah, it's a parakeet, but budgie, whatever. But first, I want to free it every day.
Kind of see it.
I want to free it every single day. Because I hate that he's in a cage, right? I just don't like it. I feel like he doesn't belong here. Y'all know how I am about the birds. I don't know. Like he's native to Australia. Why would they bring this baby over here, like, and breed them and then create this baby? And then now he's in a cage, and I keep him by the window so that he can get feels. Sometimes I sit him in the cage outside so he can get feels, but then I feel like he gets sad when he sees other birds flying, and he has just so much room, and he can only fly from like here to here. And if I take him out of the cage, I ain't gonna run after no bird in this apartment. He's gonna die. He's gonna die. And so, yeah, so I feel so bad. So I just kind of like, if I leave the room sometimes too long, he'll start chirping. And then when I just come and just sit there, he'll, calm down or whatever the case may be. We're best friends. So that's my sister's bird.
That's cute.
His name is Rocky. I'll put a picture of him on YouTube, so yeah, guys, you can see him. But yeah, I get really sad about it. And, when Maya Angelou said, "I know why the cage bird sings. I know why this cage bird sings." Okay, the baby is sad. It just makes me so sad. But yeah.
Oh,
yeah, I know.
Okay, so I'll go through Rebecca's.
Definitely don't let that bird go though, because that bird would not.
He wouldn't make it outside. He wouldn't make it. He wouldn't make it. This is not his environment. Like he would get eaten. He would die.
Yeah, fair. Fam, I can't stay for the super chats this time. I gotta take care of my own pet.
Hey, y'all just
all right.
It's always Mike and Matt anyway. I love you, Lance. Have a good one.
All right, peace.
Love y'all.
Love y'all.
Take care. The chats.
Alrighty. Oh my God, that's too close.
We just said fuck it.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the first one, Rebecca.
Oh my God, loving the crossover, Lizzie Bennett. Thank you so much.
Next one.
Infinite content, 2 ballot initiatives in Florida of note. Question 3 is legalizing weed, and question 4 is about abortion access up to 24 weeks. Make sure to choose wisely. Definitely. Rimuru Tempest the Slime Dragon. Thank you so much. I missed the Benjamin P. Diction show, but I'm not stopping my support of you. I know he's still doing his thing. It's just different, right? He's still doing a show, but it's just different. So if you follow his page, he's putting out content, as much as he can, but and it's still the BPD show. It's just kind of different than what you're used to. So keep supporting. He posts on there. Funky Flash, thank you so much. Tigwick. Tigwick. Love what you bring to Leftist Mafia, Rebecca. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. AK, thank you so much for your super chat. The Emo Dragon donating to get Rebecca on the YouTube. Look, because I put the in front of everything. The Kroger, the Publix. Donating to get Rebecca on YouTube full time. Fund. Appreciate your contributions to Leftist Mafia, like it or not, and Olay and Friends. Love you, mean it. Thank you. That's what I used to say, y'all. Love you, mean it. Thank you so much, Emo Dragon. Appreciate it. I'm trying to get free too. It's coming.
We're trying to help. Well, it'll happen.
It'll happen. We got to put it into existence. It'll happen.
Yeah. I have some ideas actually.
All right. Look, we'll talk. We'll
talk. Yeah.
Jay Cass, thank you. New job, unfortunately, night shift. On my first break, may not be able to make Leftist Mafia live further on. Oh, because they trying to keep you. See, they trying to change your shift and you can't even come with us, but you can always catch us after. Keep up the great work, though. Thank you so much. It's Spanish. I feel like this is Spanish. And I'll get it later. Gatling combo, thank you so much. Can't send too much. Listen, that's enough. You supporting is enough. So don't feel like you force us in, but you supporting is enough. And I thank you for your super chat. Can't send too much, but it's something. Thank you all so much for having empathy for service workers. Absolutely. Prairie Fire. I didn't know I had all these. I thought I had 2. Prairie Fire. I needed to give you money. Otherwise, Matt will call me out for overcharging poor folks for food. Prairie Fire.
All right. So to give some context there, Kowalski called into my show last night and was telling me how you know, when the world food crisis that, you know, because of everything going on, farmers here in the U.S. were doing quite good, and now that that's subsiding, and that's a positive thing for everybody else. You know, the farmers here charging their prices are coming back down to earth. So I was poking at him for taking advantage as a rich farmer in Nebraska, charging and taking advantage and upping his prices.
See, so Prairie Fire, are you a farmer? That's what I'm picking up.
He is a farmer in Nebraska.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh wow. So you were coming after Prairie. Well, thank you, Prairie. I appreciate it. And you know, am I poor folk? I don't know. But thank you so much. Listen, y'all know I'm not here for a long time, but I'm here for a good time. I did want to address, you know, people who are coming at me, you know, on the Twitter or whatever the case may be. They gave me a lot of love. I don't really post on Twitter like that.
Who's coming at you?
But because I
gotta get
posted a video. Listen, if y'all follow me on anything else, y'all know that outside of anything, I dress the way I dress. It is what it is. But because I posted me at dinner, right? I don't post much on Twitter, but I posted this, and people were saying, like, you know, showing less is better as a woman. Like,
wait,
you know,
that picture that I thought it was you looked so good. I don't understand.
And that's usually that's like my everyday wardrobe. Like when I wear my t-shirts, of course, and stuff like that. But when I go out, it's always up and it's stuck. Like that's how I've always dressed, like, you know, but it's funny, but like people have a problem with that. And it's not everyone, it's just a few people. But I was just like, dang, like people, I'm a woman, right? And I am 33 years old. So that's the grown and sexy age. Y'all get over it. People have titties, people have ass, people have legs, people have ears, people have eyes. Get over it. Like it is what it is.
What is wrong with people?
They were mad at me. They were upset. They were upset, but it's okay, y'all.
I cannot handle these people.
It's crazy. It's crazy. But you know, that's how I know they don't follow me much, because if you did, it wouldn't be a thing. But
everyone who's watching, go harass anyone who was talking to Rebecca negatively. No, I can't say harass. Defend Rebecca.
Don't go attack the people. But you know, I love you guys. And Matt, somebody said this though, and this will be my last thing, and I'm out. You know, because I ain't never been on your show. Yeah, I ain't never been on your show. Look, I've never been on your show. So, you know, you figure that out and you make it happen. Like so, but other than that, I love you guys, mean it. You guys enjoy. I know how you guys are going to be on here till 5 a.m. So, you know, the floor is yours. Love you guys, mean it.
Take care, Rebecca.
Yeah, you gotta get you on my show now for sure.
Okay, so we'll have to do David's too. Here's what I'll do. I'll just read them all. And then if it comes to one that's yours, just stop me. Does that work? Just to make it a little bit easier.
Like The Mask, right? Like Jim Carrey in The Mask. Somebody stop
me. There we go. Okay. Narrator.
That's for me. Narrator with a membership super chat. Member for 9 months. Thank you, Narrator. Biden supported genocide for 6 months, but if he supports it for 6 more, I might not vote for him. That's the bar. 1 year of genocide, a leftist. I mean, and listen, I don't like it either. You know, as someone who lives in New York, my vote doesn't matter, so I could just not vote for him. But if you are in a swing state and that's how you want to strategize and that's how you want to vote, I mean, you withhold your vote. And if he doesn't support it anymore, that's a reason to vote for him. I mean, it sucks, but that's what it is.
You don't want to shame people for making that shitty decision in a swing state. You know, nobody wants Trump to win. And so if they're voting for Biden, you know, despite all of their reservations about that, like they're not happy about it. They're just doing what they need to do to stop Trump. Like I really don't think you should shame people for doing that. Like I'm against voter shaming when it comes to third parties, but also people who, you know, vote for the lesser of two evils. I think that people do what they can with the system that we have, and I feel like we really should give each other more like grace in that regard.
And I mean, if you know, I'm not saying you give him any credit or give him any props, because obviously 30,000 plus people dead in Gaza.
Yeah.
But if his change of heart due to that pressure, I don't want to even say change of heart. If his change of strategy with Israel and Palestine is due to that public pressure, then I mean, I would say stopping another 30,000 people from being killed is a good thing. And certainly I don't think Trump would be pressured in that same way.
Yeah, it's a bad situation either way. So, I'm really I'm pressing people to try to be empathetic, because it's, I'm not going to vote or shame people either way. Like, if you are in a swing state, you're making a different decision than those of us in like deep blue or deep red states. So it's, it's tough. You do what you can. Infinite Content with $5. I had this idea for judicial reform: lifetime appointment but 10-year term limits for the Supreme Court, then back to a lower court, circuit appeals court district. You know what? I like those kinds of ideas. Another thing that I saw as like an alternative was that like you don't have any Supreme Court justices serving longer than a year. They just kind of rotate between circuit court judges just randomly. But I like your recommendation too. I think that the current system is absolutely just, it's so stupid and ridiculous.
Javier Ramirez with a $5 super chat. Hey Matt, love your show. Thank you so much, Javier. I appreciate it. I hope to be doing more stuff too, so there'll be more content to love soon. It'd be pretty funny if I start doing more content and then I get a $5 super chat during the first Leftist Mafia after I put out the new content, and it's like, hey Matt, hate your new content.
Go back to what you were doing.
Yeah, go back to what you were doing. Just the once a week live stream. That's all I
want. This one I'm assuming is for David Dole. Ryan Lennon fan says Pierre Poilievre, our likely next prime minister in Canada, has voted against abortion repeatedly. Plus, why was a Canadian elementary school playing the OJ trial? LOL. Yeah, that's funny. For those who don't know, David Dole actually put out a video today. I watched it. It was really good. About the polls showing that the Conservative Party is probably going to have a majority in Canada. And young people support this, even though Pierre Poilievre, the leader of the Canadian Party, he's like against gay rights, against abortion. So they're voting against their own self-interests, but it's probably because like they also live in a first past the post system like the United States. Like they have multiple parties, but it's still winner take all. So that system kind of leads to those type of suboptimal results.
Also, hold on. Before you leave that super chat, I just want to say I too assumed it was for David Dole because of the topic of conversation, so I didn't even bother looking. But then as I was looking to see what my next one was, I saw that this was indeed for me. So thank you,
was
Ryan
it really?
Lennon fan. Yeah, thank you, Ryan Lennon fan, for the super chat, the membership super chat. Member for 9 months. Wow, appreciate it.
Okay, Colt Dog.
This is for me. Colt Dog with a super chat. I've been loving seeing Ben tear up the right on X. I gotta say. Sometimes I even see a Ben Dixon reply on Twitter, aka X, and I'm like, whew, he went there.
He pulls
he
no
holds nothing
punches.
back. Yeah.
I fucking he's like probably the best follow on Twitter, hands down.
And I gotta say, what it makes it extra hilarious is I'm pretty sure his profile name is like Pastor Ben or something like that. So you see like Pastor Ben, and then it's like, whoa, okay.
It's so good. Yeah, he's my favorite. This one's for me from Bayphoto with $1.99. Thank you, Bayphoto. Mike, was your Blockbuster full of free AOL CDs? No, so I actually started working there when broadband was more common. So no, otherwise we probably would have played with them and used them as like frisbees in the store when it was slow. Rimuru Tempest the Slime Dragon, $15. Thank you so much for the generous super chat. I love seeing Ben Dixon. Yeah, me too. Always happy to have Ben on. Darnell Henriquez with $1.99. Thank you. Says it starts with rubber bands and ends with a pain king. Yeah, referring to my homeopathic gay conversion therapy. Yeah, true. Although I didn't do the rubber band thing for more than like a couple of days because it wasn't really working, of course. Tony Rizzo, this might be for you.
Is this for me? Tony Rizzo with a membership super chat. The parasitic band of Dingus's podcast, the PBD, very good, I like that, featuring Waters, are upset over an amount of money that is a rounding error to them. Yeah, absolutely.
That's true. Yeah, that's a really great point.
I mean, 40K is 40K is like alone is not something you would live on, but 40K, if like someone was to give one of us 40K right now, it would be life changing.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It is a rounding error. Yeah, it just like God, they're probably multi-millionaires. I mean, Jesse Waters makes $5 million a year. PBD, he probably makes about the same. Just God, so ridiculous, so unearned because they're so stupid. I think this one's for you too.
Yep. Tokyo Hans with a super chat, 1,000 yen. I have no idea how much that equals in dollars.
Probably $1,000.
I got to assume $1,000. $1,000 super chat. Glad to see the eclipse / rapture didn't take you all. Sadly, it didn't seem to take anyone out on the right. The only person it did take out seems to be OJ for some reason. Actually, it did. This is a really crazy story. I really should have brought it up earlier. What's this? Hold on. Give me 1 second. There is a story in the Los Angeles Times. An astrology influencer named Danielle Johnson. She apparently, and apparently she was a big figure on like Black Twitter. She has like over 100,000 followers. She apparently has she's been like mentally deteriorating, going through mental illness over the past couple of years, and became a QAnon person and sharing right-wing conspiracies and stuff. And on the day of the solar eclipse, she thought something was going to happen because of it. She thought like Armageddon was going to happen or something. So she stabbed her husband to death in his bed, took her two kids in the car, threw them out of the car while she was driving, killing the baby. There was an older child and a baby.
Oh my God.
And then she crashed her car as hard as it could into like a tree, killing her. So because of the eclipse and this woman suffering from mental illness and the right-wing conspiracy theories she was reading online from the QAnon cult, she took out 3/4 of her family, including herself.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, actually someone did die, not directly due to the eclipse, but because of conspiracy theories surrounding it.
That's a horrifying story.
Yeah.
Wow.
Also, I'm not much of an eclipse guy. Like it happened, and my kids got the glasses at school, and we stayed outside to look at it, and they were excited about it, and it was like cool for like the split moment that like you see the moon in front of the earth, and that the black circle in front of the sun, like that was cool. I'm assuming if you were in like the totality region, it just going like completely dark for a couple of minutes during the day, like darker than it is when like clouds go by. I guess that would have been pretty cool, but like for me, I wasn't too, but I wouldn't like travel for it. I'm not like, there are pictures of people like on the floor, like having like an awakening and an out of body experience. It's just like, I just don't, it's just not, it's cool. It's cool. I think science is cool. I'm not a big space guy. I'm not a big space guy.
Oh, really? I love space. See, in 2017, I was able to see it much better, and it was actually clear out. This time, I think, Pacific Northwest, we had like 20% viewing. I didn't notice shit. It was completely cloudy. But, I agree with you. I don't know why people make it out to be like some spiritual experience. It's just really cool. But, it's...
that William Shatner thing when he went up with Jeff Bezos to space, and then he came back down. That speech he had really resonates with me. Like Like you look into space and like I to me like the that is not attractive to me. Like just nothingness. I'll experience nothingness for all eternity in a couple of decades. You know what I? Well, hopefully more than a couple of decades. But in a number of decades,
you're not that old.
In a number of decades, I'll be experiencing nothingness for all eternity.
Yeah.
So for me right now, I actually quite enjoy Earth. I think it's quite beautiful. The trees, the sky, the water, the fresh air, gravity.
Yeah, I understand like seeing Earth from space, that could really change you because you're seeing just existence raw, right? You're not seeing any borders. You're not seeing you're like completely detached from like the day to day. It's just human beings on a planet floating randomly through nothingness. It's a really, it could be like life-changing or at least change your perception or your mentality. So I do understand that, but I feel like you shouldn't need to see the planet to have that type of mentality, right? Like it should be obvious.
Like someone in the chat mentioned the Charlie DeGeneres said the people not so much. But you know what? That's the one thing I actually, and I posted this online. This is the one thing I really enjoyed about the eclipse, more so than the eclipse itself. People came out of their buildings, came out of their homes. In my neighborhood, walking the kids home from school, everyone was standing outside. Who could? People standing outside of stores. I saw like workers stopped and looking up with and outside of my building. There were more people standing outside of my building at the same time than I've ever seen. I love that. I actually like in terms of like reminiscing on like the past or like the golden nothing's ever better than the now, and then obviously then the future. Things will always progress. So I'm like one of those people. But in terms of like one thing I do wish I was alive for, and like the like I guess in like it reminds me of the episodes of the Twilight Zone. I guess like the 50s and 60s. The one thing that seems nice in that is that like people were always outside. Kids were always like in the street playing baseball, riding their bikes. I mean, maybe that's just in the shows, but my parents tell me sort of the same thing too. I miss people neighbors interacting as much as they used to. And to see that during the eclipse was actually the coolest part of the eclipse. People outside talking, congregating. I liked that a lot.
It feels good to also experience things together, kind of just like you don't think about, people's political disposition or who they are. It's just, hey, we're experiencing this cool thing together. We're human beings. And I think there's something really cool about that too. So yeah, I understand that. Okay.
Listen, don't get me wrong. I certainly dislike greatly quite a few number of specific people, but people as a whole, I like to think we're good.
Yeah, we're products of our environment largely too. I think, for better or worse. Okay, so Izzy Sanchez with $5 says Jesse Waters not taking how many hours are distributed to employees plus taxes and rent, electric bill, cell phone bill, food, etc. Sheesh. Yeah, you know what it is? He is so detached. He hasn't thought about these things in forever, right? He doesn't have infinite money, but for the most part, for all intents and purposes, he doesn't ever have to think about these things. So he's not thinking about bills. He's not thinking about food. He's not thinking at all about like what a regular person goes through because he's so detached. He has so much money. I mean, $5 million a year. He is a multi-millionaire. To talk like he does what we do. Easiest job ever. We do it much better, by the way. But like $5 million a year, like you never have to worry about anything. Your family's taken care of, and so he can't empathize at all with like the regular person. So that's why he's so out of touch. When you're in that like rich elitist bubble for so long, like it doesn't just make you detached. Like I actually think to an extent, the richer you become, the more you experience brain rot. Just like looking at some of these people.
I'll say, and let me just say that this is I just realized my super chat. Thank you, Izzy Sanchez. I actually do think I don't think he considers taxes. That's absolutely right.
Yeah,
but they definitely consider those other expenses. They just don't think you should be able to afford rent if you're working at these places. Like they literally don't think you should be able to. Like they realize that part of it. They definitely don't consider the taxes. That you absolutely got right. But I really do think that because they say it, you shouldn't be able to afford rent by yourself as an industry worker, because that's not a job where you should be living. You shouldn't have the privilege of being able to afford to live on your own. That because you shouldn't be there. This job is just for teens and people starting out. That's how they really think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Foresto.
This one's for me. Yes, I'm sorry. I'm just taking them all. Foresto Montero. I'm what's the casino term I'm looking for? I can't remember.
I don't know. I know what term you're referring to, but I cannot.
Tables, I think. Yeah.
Okay, that was not the one I was thinking of. Never mind.
Foresto Montero with a $10 super chat. Years ago, my old army buddy posted a homophobic Facebook post on Pride Day. I started fighting him in the comments, and his friends chimed in, "Didn't you blow X guy?" He replied, "Yeah, but I didn't like it."
Wow. Honestly, not super surprising.
I mean, listen, I know people, experiment when they're young and try different things. But I mean, I feel like you got to at least be bi if you've done that. Like,
Yeah.
I've never, as a guy who knows 100% that I'm totally straight, as I'm only attracted to women. I've never had a moment where I wanted to experiment with blowing a guy.
Right?
Yeah, it's not something you accidentally do or say you want to try out unless you're bi. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But if you're gonna be posting homophobic posts on Facebook, then I mean, and you blew a guy,
right? Yeah, it's like same for me. It's like, I've never experimented with a woman. I have no interest in women whatsoever. I'm a 6 on the Kinsey scale. Matt's probably a 1. I'm assuming. So like, there's going to be, I think, a lot of gray area, a lot of people in between. So yeah, if you were willing to do that, I don't think you're necessarily super straight.
Hold on, Uncle Gumball though said, quoting as if I'm saying this, "Getting blown though, that's a different story." Never had any. Zero throughout my entire life. I've never even had a moment. Zero attraction to guys. I'm not even attracted to myself. I mean, guys are gross, man. Guys are disgusting. What's wrong with us? Seriously, how can even women be into this? I mean, I don't get it at all.
Okay. Zia Spots, $3. Thank you, Zia. Petition to make Jesse Waters work at McDonald's. Listen, I've always said this half seriously. I think that every single person should be required to work in the service industry for at least 1 year. I think that would make society a better place, because if you are on the receiving end of that job, of a Karen, of somebody who's yelling at you, it changes your perspective, right? Feeling belittled, feeling like people think that they are superior to you. So yeah, I agree. I think that Jesse Waters should work at McDonald's, so that way he could see, oh, this is actually really difficult work. And I don't think that he could survive working at McDonald's. If he was forced to get a different job, he's never going to be in that position, but he wouldn't be able to survive working at a fast food or a retail place. He just couldn't. He needs to be in these little elitist jobs where you talk, read off a teleprompter. Not because he's better, but because he couldn't handle it. Lou Isms, $1.99. In 1995, I worked for $7.25 an hour with only $300 rent. Wow. Yeah, it's crazy how much the cost of living has skyrocketed. It's really, really startling.
Yeah, rent in the 90s. I mean, I was too young in the 90s to be renting, but
same.
You hear from people that that the fact that it was still in the 3 figures in the 90s seems insane.
Yeah,
because that means it maintained that general 3-figure number for quite some time. Do you know what I mean? And then suddenly it jumped a lot and continues to jump a lot.
Yeah.
Like if you're paying 300 in the 90s, then like what were they paying in the in like the 60s, the 70s, the 80s? Like
Actually, I found on Reddit somebody posted an ad of homes for sale. I think it was from like 1960 something, and for
like 17,000, I think, or something like that, for like a beautiful home.
Well, there was the ones that I saw. It was a 3-bedroom, for like 70,000, and the mortgage I want to say was around like 200 a month. Which is just, I mean, it's inconceivable, right?
It's crazy, man.
I don't know where that was from, like what area of the country, but still.
For me personally, that's like, you know, I'm a very lucky person. I have a wife, 2 kids. Everyone's healthy. It's knock on wood, obviously. But like the one thing out of reach that is like the goal in life is to just, for me personally, I know some people don't want to do this, is just own a home. Nothing crazy, just a basic home. And that's because I'm just sick of rent, sick of the property being owned by a landlord and someone else having a say over what you can and can't do. I got a dog and I have to pay them hundreds of dollars in fees just to have a dog in the place where I live, like my own home. Like I hate that so much, to live under the power of someone else. So like for me, that's like the one unachievable, maybe one day, who knows, far away. That's like the one thing left. And like the fact that it would have been much easier to obtain even just a decade ago is, probably more than a decade ago, maybe 2 decades ago, is so angering. If I was just born a little bit earlier, you know, like.
Well, that's why so many people now don't even pretend like the American dream is alive, because that's like the American dream, right? Like you go through the steps, you get a job, you get a family, you buy a home, and then, you know, life is peachy keen. Not really, but you know what I mean? Like now that's not even like the bare minimum of what is thought of as the American dream is no longer attainable for the overwhelming majority of the population.
Right. Mike, I'm sick of eating the bugs. I'm sick of owning nothing and being happy. I want to own something, Mike.
Okay, so this one is a membership super chat. This might be for you.
Bay Photo, member for 9 months. Thank you so much. Jesse Waters doesn't even understand that hourly employees often don't receive consistent hours or have full-time status. So $20 times 40 is kind of wrong. I actually mentioned this. I did a much longer piece on it on my show last night on the live stream. You know, on this show, we cover things quicker, number of voices voicing their opinion, so we don't always get to every single point before we move on to the next topic. But I did bring this up. Like, these jobs are not guaranteed 40 hours either. They could be working much less hours one week. You know, it's totally dependent on a scheduled basis by what their manager gives them. And while obviously they would be making more money, some weeks these guys are making, and gals are making much more, are working much more than 40 hours, like 80-hour weeks. And, you know, $20, 80 times 20, when you're working 80 hours, like, it's fucking ridiculous. Like, it's not worth it. Like, I mean, obviously they got to do it. They need the money, but it's not like, for your health and everything, it's not a good thing to do.
Yeah, we shouldn't be spending like the overwhelming majority of our days and most of our existence at these jobs making money for corporations. And that's just like, on principle, like, we should just have more leisure time. But if we're not going to have leisure time, we should also be able to fucking survive. And the fact that people cannot survive off the wages that they're getting, it just makes it so much more egregious. Like, how can you think that the system works? It only works if you're rich. It feels like you're working, like it's working, you know, if you're a rich person like Jesse Waters, but for the normal person, it doesn't work. Asa with $2. Thank you. Asa says, have y'all seen Civil War? I'm going to watch it soon. You know, I really want to see that. I might check it out this weekend. One thing that I saw that kind of gave me pause is they credit Andy No. And there was another right winger they credit as well. I guess they used
Helen
their footage or something.
I'm not too familiar with her. She's some
same.
She's some British right winger, so you know, who knows what the fuck's going on over there. But they don't
not
just
good
credit
stuff.
Andy. They don't just credit Andy. No, they say he's responsible for some of the footage in the film.
Which is so fucked up.
Which means they paid him, which means they licensed the footage he takes from. And someone mentioned that Andy No actually posts a lot of footage that he doesn't own from other people.
Yeah, I saw that.
So they're wondering if Andy No even owned the footage that he sold the license to. So they're looking into that. Yeah, I was gonna see Civil War in movie theaters probably. I don't get to go to the movie theaters often. But this was one I would just because it was just. I don't think the movie's gonna be good. I think it's gonna bother me no matter how much they say that that Texas and California team up to to do this.
Right.
But I am. I don't think I'm paying for the movie after seeing that. I'm not supporting that. I don't care. I'll see it when it comes out on streaming because my viewing it won't matter at all to how much they're paying for the rights for it. But I'm not giving my movie ticket money to them because that does count. Like your money goes in the overall total there. Whereas like when it's on Netflix or whatever, Netflix just pays them the fee and then it doesn't really matter otherwise.
Yeah, I feel like it's gonna be bad. I'm really curious about it. But seeing the Andy No thing has definitely I have reservations about seeing it and giving my money to that.
If it was just a credit to him, like a thank you to him, I would still be like, oh, what the fuck? But they thank him for the footage, which means unless he gave it to them for free, which I highly doubt, and I don't think they would do that anyway for making sure they were doing everything on the up and up so they don't get sued later on. They almost assuredly paid him to license the footage, and I'm not supporting anyone who pays for that.
Yeah, which tells me that I already my presumption was that the movie is going to be very milquetoast centrist, like, hey, we should all get along or some shit like that. Now I'm actually thinking I wouldn't be surprised if the film was fascist. Like, why would you use Andy No's? Like, if you're making a piece,
without a doubt, they mention without a doubt, I guarantee you 100%, they mention Antifa in a negative way in this movie, as if they were part of the Civil War. I bet they don't I don't want to completely say what they don't, what they do and do, but do and don't mention because I haven't seen the movie. But almost assuredly, if they got footage from Andy No, then they're mentioning Antifa somewhere in the film. I bet.
I might see it just to talk about it on the show, out of morbid curiosity.
And again, listen,
as bad as I think.
I don't care necessarily. Obviously, if it, movies that have right wing politics or have a bad message, it sucks, and I'm not necessarily a fan of. But if it's a good movie, I'll still watch it and judge it from that perspective as well. But this is different. This is they have enriched someone in real life who does these things by paying them for footage, and that's completely different. That's much worse if you ask me.
Yeah.
Charlie DeGenemer, the membership super chat member for 9 months. Thank you, Charlie. Hey, Matt, Annie Fitzgerald wants to talk about her run in Washington State to anyone who'd be interested. Yeah, I think she reached out to me on my stream. Let's get her on. If we're not having anyone...
I was gonna say we should.
Washington State, yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's a super chat from her too. Let's keep going, and I'll say what I was gonna say when we get to her super chat.
Yeah, I was gonna say because she sent us a chat before to come on my show, but I'm not doing candidate interviews. But I think that Leftist Mafia interviews with candidates is much better because it gives them the opportunity to talk about their campaign and kind of just be themselves, which is what people want to see. So yeah, I would like to do that too. Let's see here. I think this one is probably for you or David Dole, but it's from Snack Panther.
Not for me. Nope.
Okay. He says GTSY, Bubba and Ben. Let me go down. We have Asa Rosa with $2. Thank you, Asa. GTA 6 by far has the best hairstyles for Black representation. It's been a while since I've seen the trailer, but I'll check it out again. I'm very, very excited about that. Okay, Emo Dragon, member for 3 months. Thank you, Emo Dragon. Hey, Mike, hope you're well. See the article about how millennials buying groceries is splurging. Whatever we do, we're selfish / ruining society. Yeah, I haven't read the article, but I did see people talking about that, and it's so ridiculous. It was something to the effect of a new trend that millennials are doing, splurging on groceries or some shit. It's like, no, we can't win, right? Like we're either killing industries, killing the economy, or we're splurging when we're not supposed to. Like, it's just, I don't understand why there's so much hate for millennials, especially because we're not the youngest generation. Like, it's pretty typical for like older generations to shit on the youngest generation, but we're still being shit on. Like, get off our dick and balls.
I completely agree. Like, that was my first reaction when I saw the article, but there is parts in the article where, personally, I was just like, oh, you guys gotta shop better. There was this one person who was a single guy in his early 20s who said he spends like $150 a week on groceries, including like snack foods and stuff like that. And I gotta say, like, that amount of money is how much my family of 4 spends on groceries. So this guy is spending, must be getting good snacks and stuff. But you know what? At the same time, though, $150 on food. Like, if you're gonna spend money on something, please, food should be like the thing people should be allowed to splurge on. It's food. You should enjoy what you eat. And
if you want to eat healthy, there are ways to be economical. Yeah, there are ways to like
have a treat.
Yeah, absolutely. Healthy food is often expensive. I think that a lot of us, it takes a while to learn how to shop wisely, and to not like waste money and to make food that lasts. But I think that, like, as you said, Matt, criticizing people over food, I just feel like it's so what's the point? Like, why? I don't get it.
I mean, like I said, there's a part of me that, like, as someone who is I'm the guy who shops and is very strict about what you buy based on the best deal possible, because that's who I am. It was shocking to see a single guy spend the same amount I do on my family of 4. But again, I'm not gonna knock someone for that. If food should be something you're allowed to splurge on and enjoy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Okay.
This is this is not from me. Oh wait, yes, it is for me. Narrator with a super chat. It would be a better ad if Biden put half the political capital into protecting abortion access that he has put into arming genociders. Oh, I agree. I'm sure people on this show will agree, but you know what? That ad will probably be to most normal people probably will resonate more. People don't pay attention to this type of stuff. They don't pay attention to policy. They don't pay attention to that stuff. They I mean, think about the questions that are asked of people when they decide who to vote for. Traditionally, maybe not with Biden and Trump, because but normally it's like, oh, who would you have a beer with? Like, that's ludicrous, but that's how people think of these things.
Yeah. I wish that wasn't the case, but that's American politics, unfortunately. We have Jacqueline Terrell, member for 9 months. Thank you so much. I believe this is for David Dole. That law in Arizona is from 1864. They didn't even become a state until 1912. Yeah, it was during the Civil War, before statehood, before women were able to vote. It's just so it's so ridiculous. They're just, I don't know what to say. They're clowns. They want to go back.
I just realized that one was for me too. Thank you, Jacqueline.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for being a member for 9 months. Really appreciate it. 9 months. Jeez. KD Dammit with a super chat. White cowboys were called cowhands, and African Americans were pejoratively referred to as cowboys. Interesting. I gotta say though, when I was first about to read this super chat, I thought I was gonna read it as white cowboys were called cowards and African Americans. But that's very interesting. That's very interesting.
So this one was for Rebecca. I don't know if we read this one. I think I might have missed it.
Oh,
Does this? I'm not sure.
$50? Wow.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Andrew. If we missed this during Rebecca, I will let her know, but I'll read it just in case because it doesn't seem familiar to me. Lots of major events this week. Hope everyone stays safe and well. On a positive note, I got a new job. I can now leave a very crappy job for a hopefully less crappy job. That is awesome. That is really, really important. Good for you, Andrew. Yeah, that's anytime you could leave a shitty job. That's a good feeling. So good for you. We got a couple more from Andrew, actually. You got a super sticker, I think, and I got a super sticker. So we got two.
Andrew. That's awesome.
Mine says, "You are amazing."
$20.
And it's a little guy. Yeah, Andrew, thank you so much.
Mine
really
says,
appreciate
"Thanks for
it.
being you." Oh, I appreciate that.
So nice. Yeah, thank you, Andrew.
Someone must have got a really nice new job. Congrats. On the cowboy thing, I just want to go back to that for a second. I just want to say,
Sure.
As a kid though, I gotta say, growing up in the '90s, really, because I was born in '86. But I started watching Pee-wee's Playhouse as soon as I could. Like I guess 3 years old, so that'd be '89. Cowboy Curtis was Black Cowboy on that show, and seeing that as 3 years old, I thought nothing of a black cowboy. It was just he's a cowboy. Doesn't matter. Lawrence Fishburne in that role, amazing, great character, great role. Paul Rubens, amazing, and obviously, being that it was his show, he cast Lawrence Fishburne to be Cowboy Curtis. I think, it was super important to cast him in that role. I think he was one of my favorites on the show too. I mean, other than Pee-wee, Cowboy Curtis was cool. Is cool, I should say.
Okay, so this is the super chat from Annie. I think it's for you.
It is for me. Annie Fitzgerald with a $10 super chat. Please consider interviewing me for my campaign on Leftist Mafia. I need help promoting my campaign for State House in Washington 38. I want to make history as the first openly disabled LGBTQ elected official in Washington. Annie, you did not need to send me a super chat for this, but we're going to make sure it is the best $10 a campaign has ever spent. Let's make sure they don't have someone booked for next week. The rest of the crew don't have someone booked for next week, and if not, Annie, you available next Thursday?
Yeah, how do we you can email me, Annie, at mike@humanistreport.com. Or hopefully you can DM us on Twitter. I think we have to be following. I know I have to be following. Do you have open DMs, Matt?
You know what? It's totally possible that Annie sent me a DM and it got caught in that stupid message requests folder that you don't get a notification for.
Yeah, I've never checked.
It happens to me all the time.
Yeah.
Look, I just looked. Yes, there she is.
Oh, okay. There we go. So we can coordinate.
So I have your. I will. I'm gonna message you right now. It can't be I can't think right now. So it's just gonna be, hey. Let's see. I'm gonna just say, hey, are you available next Thursday? I'll check if we have an open slot on my end.
Oh, she just actually emailed you too. This just came in. Check your email binder. Emailed you. Okay, we will make it. We'll make it happen, Annie.
The thing is, like, I'm on Twitter all the time, but unless I don't know how they choose what gets in the message request folder or not. But if it goes into the main folder, I'll get the notification and I'll reply to you. If it goes in the message request folder, there's no notification. So I don't know what's in there until I just decide one day to check. And I forget to check that a lot.
I don't know if I even have a message request folder. I think I just have DMs turned off from people who I don't follow.
That's probably what it is. If you don't have a connection with them, they probably put you in the message request folder.
Okay. Yeah, because I don't want DMs from people on Twitter. I don't want to see the slurs and the bullshit. So I get that on Facebook enough, and I don't look at them. So that's why if you can't contact me, that's on Twitter. That's why, unfortunately.
I see the email too, Annie, completely unopened in the middle of a bunch of other unopened email. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But I DM'd you We're gonna make this happen. I don't think we have a guest for next Thursday.
I don't think so either. If we do, we can still bring Annie on. Even if it's just like a half an hour segment or something, we could still bring her on. We can make it work. This is from T-Types. No message, just a red and a black box.
Oh, that was for me. Thank you, T-Types.
Member
for 9 months. I love it. I love all these. I think 9 months has got to be when I turned the YouTube memberships on because there's so many 9-month members. T-Types with a $5 super chat. I'm doing my taxes right now and using your show to dissociate. Yeah. Taxes are not fun to do, but you know, you're getting something back.
Got to do it. And you're one of those folks who waits to almost the deadline. I respect that because you're getting it done.
I used to be the guy submitting it at the last minute, but this
Same.
year I need the tax return.
Yeah. Okay. I think this one might be you.
Old man house phone with a $10 super chat. I love everyone here except David's fast chat. I watch on Friday so I can 2 times it. By the way, Binder, give this to Rebecca and Lance. Good seeing Benny Purcell and DJ X. How do you say his name?
Exclusive, but with 3 X's.
Got it. DJ. Well, they put DJ X3C. Oh, DJ exclusive. Okay, got it. Never miss an episode. Oh, I love to hear it. Thank you so much.
That's awesome,
old man. I'll certainly pass this on to Lance and to Rebecca.
This one's for you.
Tokyo Hans with a super chat. Make sure to interview Annie Fitzgerald, who's running for State House in Washington 38. Damn, Annie's got the grassroots with her right here. This is awesome.
I know. Good for you, Annie. This one's for me. ABS, Anonymous Bastard Society, with $8. Thank you. Did you guys talk about Trump's failure to make bond? We didn't, but that is... So my thoughts are mixed on this, right? So for those who didn't hear, he's failed to make bond, and now his assets can be seized. The money in his bank account can technically be seized. And the reason why I feel mixed is because even though that's a possibility, I just still can't fathom them doing this to a former president, a rich person, right? Like seizing his assets. I'll believe it when I see it. But if it were to happen, that would be it would be so fucking funny. He's gonna be so pissed off. I mean, he's already pissed off, right?
Every squatter to Trump Tower immediately.
Like I honestly, like, I really would love to see this happen. But I have to see it first, right? Because even though it's a possibility, I don't know. I just feel like he's untouchable. We'll see though. But
I hope they seize everything. Hope they seize.
Take the clothes off his fucking back.
I hope they seize those assets. I hope they seize that ass. I hope
take his tenor away from him.
Just fucking seize everything. I want to see that. I want to see every homeless person housed inside Trump Tower and Trump living in a box outside.
Yes.
The only homeless person in America. I want Donald Trump.
Yep. Absolutely. The Phantom 53able with $2. Thank you. Hey guys, would you consider New Jersey a swing state?
No. In what world is it a swing state? You gotta be joking, right?
Yeah, I would not. Tokyo Hans. Mike, you too. Make sure to interview Annie Fitzgerald, who is running for State House in Washington 38.
Damn.
Thank you, Tokyo. A lot of fans and advocates for Annie Fitzgerald. And guess what?
Member chat for you. With a membership super chat. +1 for Annie Fitzgerald as a guest.
Wow.
You guys got to all, obviously, like the way you're doing this in the chat, like when her campaign is kicking in full gear, you got to all do this, bring this same energy to the phones too, because that's where the votes are going to come out. Like this is like let's face it, like I don't know how many people watch our show from Washington in her district. Probably some. And of course, Mike is in Washington, right? You're in Washington,
Oregon.
right? Oregon. Well, it's
Oregon.
right above you, so you probably got
Neighbors.
you got more listeners. Yeah, but coming on these shows are great for building, a campaign a crew of campaign volunteers who will call people in your district when it comes time to do that. So please, if you do the work when it comes time, Annie will probably tell us all about where you can sign up and what she needs from you guys when she comes on the show.
Mm-hmm. Narrator with $5. Thank you, narrator. I don't uphold the duopoly. I'm just beholden to it. A leftist. Yeah, I mean, I think that the problem is that it's baked into the system, and we've got to change the system. We all we're locked into this really shitty two-party system, and it's not fair. I think that I would never criticize a leftist for voting for the lesser of two evils, and I would never criticize them for voting against the lesser of two evils. I just think that you have to understand that people are going to base decisions on their options available, right? Like, nobody who supports, no leftist who's voting for Joe Biden supports him as a candidate. It's just an anti-Trump vote. But I respect them if they don't want to do that. It's a shitty situation. So that's my main take, narrator. I understand what you're saying, though. It's a shitty set of options that we have, but we need to change the system, and that's why I've been advocating for that for a very, very long time.
Also, I got to appreciate that we are narrators reverse pay pigs. Like, people, how people pay someone to denigrate them, like that's like a fetish. Mm-hmm. Narrator pays us to denigrate us. Like, he pays us for us to read the quotes he wants us to say to mock us. Like, that's what he wants us to say because that's what he thinks we're saying. It's pretty good.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I do like narrator. I think narrator does have good takes, but I try to keep the Michael Brooks mantra in my head, like, be ruthless to systems, but be kind to individuals. Like, people in swing states, they don't have a lot of options. I can do whatever I want. I'm in a blue state, right? So I could throw my vote to Claudia de la Cruz and not really have to think twice about it. But, in a swing state, totally different story because, we don't want Trump to win. So that means you got to vote for the person who has the best shot of beating Trump, which is Joe Biden. If you want to stop him, it sucks. No way, $9.99. Thank you so much. Do you think the abortion ban is more so government response to us experiencing decline in birth rates? I don't know. I think that birth rates, like, if they want to fix that, all you do is you actually fix our immigration system, because declining birth rates first of all, it's not an issue. It's only an issue in an economic sense because you need the population to exponentially grow in perpetuity if you want profits to continue growing exponentially in theory. But this is just Republicans got what they wanted, right? They played the long game. It's been a 50-year battle ever since Roe v. Wade was decided. They've been trying to get it overturned, and they made it happen. So I think it's very, what you see is what you get here. There's no ulterior motives. They don't think women should have reproductive rights. Okay, I think this one also for me. Thank you, the bitey face puppy guy, $20 Canadian. Appreciate that. Instead of complaining about $20 an hour, Jesse Waters and PBD should just be thankful they are not being sent to a re-education camp or the gulag, right? I mean, God, I'm so sick of hearing rich assholes talk about what, like, people who are less fortunate than them deserve, because they certainly don't deserve to be in their positions. Oxpecker with $2. Thank you. Mike, would you still be pro-choice if you were a Krogan? I would, just because I'm very principled. All right.
What's a Krogan?
Okay. A Krogan is a species of alien from the Mass Effect video game series. They're like kind of like a reptilian, but like big and brawn, like very, very big. I think
Omega Shenron Dragon with a super chat. Fallout show has Rappaport. This is not a drill. Wait, like the Fallout show isn't that like on Amazon or something, right? Or
right, yeah. Netflix? So that's wait, it actually does have Rappaport? Why would they have Rappaport in it?
Michael Rappaport is in Fallout.
He's getting work? What? Why? Oh, that's gonna kind of ruin it for me.
Yeah, he shouldn't be getting work anymore, honestly.
Yeah. I think this one's for you.
Balthazar228 with the super chat. Does anyone know what happened to Lance's website? No, something happened to Lance's website?
I don't know.
Maybe it went down. Maybe he doesn't know. We gotta let him know. It's
Maybe
the Surf.tv, right?
Yeah, maybe he has to pay his server fee. Pay your bills, Lance. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. Okay. Next one for you.
Mark with a $10 super chat. Here is for your first home deposit. Leftist Mafia. I appreciate it, Mark. I appreciate it. I guess if I was a mouse, this would be a good down payment. But no, I appreciate the super chat and very funny. I appreciate.
Oh, somebody in the chat says Lance's website is no more. He's not with Whiteleaf anymore. Okay, I remember that. Yeah, so he's not with.
Wait, what happened with White? What happened?
I think he said why a while ago. I don't want to speak for him, but he left whatever. Whatever. I think it was a co-op that he was with.
Yeah, it's the people who do the who run like the website for like Vosh and Keffels and Dylan Burns.
Okay.
They have like that private chat thing. Like
I totally forgot about that.
It always confused me, like that there was so many. There was a Twitch chat and then the private chat on their website. There's just too many chats.
Right. yeah. I'm a simple guy.
But I don't know why. I don't know why Lance left though. I have to ask him actually. I'm interested.
Okay. Okay, we got two left. One for you, one for me. This one's for you.
Tokyo Hans with a super chat. As your very first YouTube member, I can confirm. Yesterday was your 9-month anniversary of YouTube memberships. Oh, thank you so much. I had no idea. I appreciate that.
Okay. Chris Corcoran with $5. Did you see J.K. Rowling said she wouldn't forgive Daniel Radcliffe and Emma Watson for criticizing her transphobic comments? So I didn't see the article. I saw the headline, which is so funny because so many people responded saying they didn't apologize to you. So there's nothing there's nothing to forgive. They're not asking for your forgiveness. They said that you had a bad take. They disagreed with you. They're not apologizing. It's so funny because she is so narcissistic and self-centered that she thinks that they're like even willing to, I guess, apologize. I mean, who the fuck do you think you are?
Also, why would they even need to, like, even from like, let's just say like they felt like they had to from like a relationship, like a business relationship standpoint. Like, why they have no business with her. Like, they were in a movie that was based on her books. Like, their career does not overlap with her at all after that movie was done. Like, it's not like they need her for anything. It's not like she's a movie producer or a big movie producer that they like. I mean, I know she's in that world now because Harry Potter was such an important franchise, but she's not like a major player. They get plenty of work without her. First of all, Daniel Radcliffe clearly is one of those actors, and I always respect when an actor does that. They have that huge breakout role where they make more money than they could ever imagine, and then they just take roles for the love of acting, like roles that appeal to them that might not even be high paying. Like, he does mostly like live theater now because that's what he wants to do. He wants to hone that craft. He enjoys doing that, and like, I totally respect that.
Yeah.
And like Emma Watson, she's like beyond like just like an actress now. She's like an iconic like Hollywood star.
Yeah. I think that she probably believes that she made them or something, but like, no, they made Harry Potter what it is, right? Like, your books were trash and the movies made them good, filled in the shitty little plot holes, disregarded the dumb shit. And like, they're the ones who made it popular. Like when people saw Harry Potter when they were kids and loved Harry Potter, it wasn't because of you. It was because of the characters on the screen that they saw portrayed by Daniel Radcliffe and Emma Watson. So she needs to get over herself, but she is high on the smell of her own fart. She lives in her castle, so she thinks that the world revolves around her. But she's just
even politics removed. If you're just like a normie who has no idea about who J.K. Rowling is or whatever, she's just the name on the Harry Potter books. When you think of the Harry Potter series, you don't think of her face. You don't know what she even fucking looks like. You think of Daniel Radcliffe. You think of Emma Watson. That's who you visualize when you think of Harry Potter in the movies.
Yeah. But I mean, she's unhinged. She is now resorting to Holocaust denial to be transphobic. So, it doesn't surprise me that she's now trying to instigate beef with them, I guess. I need to know, like, if she was asked about this or she just kind of spontaneously decided to say she wouldn't forgive them. But she should go fuck herself. That's what she should do. She's so unhinged. Okay, we got 2 more that came in for me. Narrator with $2. Oh, right. I'm a little piss boy, a leftist. Love you guys still. I love you too, narrator. I think that your feelings are absolutely justified, and I agree with a lot of what you said. But I try to be more kind to folks who don't have a lot of options because it's just a shit situation. We're all victims to the system. It's a terrible system we live in.
Very good last minute super chat.
I genuinely love. Yeah, but on the note of piss, we have JCass with a $2 poo poo and another $2
JCass for
pee-pee.
me. There we go with a $2 pee. Good night.
That's the show.
Well, I got a few Twitch shout outs really quick. Hello, lovely scientist. Resubscribed for 1 month at tier 1. Subscriber for 7 months. Thank you so much. Hello, lovely scientist. Tacoma Blues gave out a community gift sub. Thank you so much, Tacoma Blues. And Robot Monkey Cat resubscribed for 1 month at tier 1. They've been a subscriber on Twitch for 29 months. Oh my God.
Wow.
Robot Monkey Cat says, anyone in Austin can find me at the Staple Independent Media Expo this weekend at the Pow Float table. Save this message for the cool cats who stay till the end of the super chats. Oh, interesting. Cool. I'll have to look that up. Pow Float table. Pow Float. I have no idea what that is, but I'll check it out.
All right. Who are we rating?
All right, cool. Who should we raid? Right. I almost forgot. Who should we raid? Who's on right now?
Yeah. We've got Cosmopolitics. We've got Riverboat Jack. We've got Actual Jake. We've got
I see
a small
Humanist Report's on right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say we have a small streamer, Hassan Abi. I've never heard of him, but a little bit obscure. Amy C3, Trihex is on. There's a lot of options. Chat, who do we want to send all of you on Twitch to?
Yeah, you tell us.
Oh, we got one more super chat, by the way.
Is that for me? Or...
Oh, actually, we got 2 more. I got one from Asa too.
This is for me, B Buccaneer, with a $10 super chat. The motive behind the anti-abortion is racism, immigration, and the control of women's bodies. Dr. Horatio Storer and the American Medical Association in the mid-1850s created the anti-abortion movement. Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, succinct and well put, right?
Asa sent in a $2 super chat. What do you all think about The Wire? Is it propaganda? Ooh, that's a good question. I haven't seen it in a long time.
I've never watched it, so yeah.
Oh, it's really good. It's super entertaining.
Yeah, but maybe it's for the best. I'm one of the few people in politics who've not probably seen it, so I'm divorced of having the Wire brain.
Yeah, that's true. I watched it back when I was more of a normie. I was going through. I was still in grad school. It was before like the Mike Brown protests, which was really big. Like we were all talking about it at college. So I don't know if I would have picked up on the things then that I would now. So if I have time, I would like to rewatch it just to kind of just to see if it is propaganda. I think just like trying to recall, I'd say, yeah, there's a lot of elements about it that is propaganda, but I can't say because I need to rewatch it. But I mean, there's a lot of great characters in it though.
Most shows that have cops in them are propaganda. Like the entire Law and
Right.
Order series, even the ones where like the cops are are clearly like doing stuff they shouldn't be. Like, what's the Chicago one? Chicago, whatever it is, and like the cops will take the guy downstairs and beat them up in the basement or whatever. Like, but it's always for the greater good. They're doing that for. Like, it's if you're doing a cop show, it's usually propaganda. Like, I don't know if I can think of one that isn't.
Okay, so somebody in my Twitch chat recommended that we raid Jason Society. He's a chill cannabis streamer who also covers leftist politics.
Who is this?
Jason Society. I'll put it in our private chat.
Oh, I think I've rated Jason Society.
Oh, okay. I've never rated Jason. I just put it in our private chat.
All right, Jason Society. So should we do Jason Society or
let's
what's
do Jason? Yeah, let's do Jason.
All right, cool. Let's let me pull him up. Hold on. Jason _Society, right?
Yep. Thanks for the recommendation, DJ Dub. Oh, it says invalid username.
I see it. Jason _Society.
Oh, let me try that again. Oh, okay, there we go. It worked again. Okay. Or it worked this time, I should say, not again. Yeah, I got it. I'm ready.
All right, here we go. Let's oh wait, it's loading up. I forgot to start raid. Is yours loading up?
I'm ready to go now.
Hold on. I need a minute. Not even a minute. I need 5.
Oh, real quick. Tokyo Hans.
Oh,
Police Academy propaganda.
Yeah, thank you, Tokyo Hans. Yes. All right, that's it for this week, folks. Enjoy the raid to Jason Society, and we'll see you all next week, right, Mike?
Yeah. All right.
All right, peace.
Take care, everyone.